Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the Nika Fanfics. Back with amazing fanfiction. This is the series of What If Deku Had Atomic Creation Quirk. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. It was a fling, really. They met at a bar, both having a bit too much to drink and very little protection. Despite it being unplanned, Inko couldn't feel anything other than joy. She always wanted to be a mother, she just planned for it to be with a husband. The first person she tells is her best friend Mitsuki, who is also PRGNNT. Mitsuki is a bit concerned for her friend, but when she sees how thrilled Inko is, she jumps right in. They talk about how their kids will be best friends. Despite it being entirely too early, they go shopping for baby clothes. They buy some for girls, boys and even gender-neutral ones. She is so caught up in her excitement that she forgets to find and tell the father until she enters her second month of PRGNNCY. It's not as difficult as she thought it would be. She starts by entering the bar where she met him. Based on the bartender and the man's, she's pretty sure the name was Toshinori. Interaction: Toshinori is a regular. Sure enough, Toshinori is by the bar scanning the room. She is a bit nervous for what the man will say, but no matter what, she knows she will have this handled. She's so thrilled about her baby coming into this world. It feels like nothing can get her down. Inko, right? Toshinori looks very unsure. That's to be expected. She barely remembers that night. Yes. Midoriya Inko. Now that she's here, she isn't really sure how to tell him. Can I get you a drink? He offers. Nothing alcoholic. There was something I wanted to tell you. Inko drums her fingers nervously. And it's so important you had to track me down? He asks not unkindly. Well, I think you deserve to know. That night, You know, she doesn't know why she can't say it. Well, it ended with a child. I'm PRGNNT. And you're sure I'm the father? Toshinori asks. That's a fair question. Yes. The time matches up and I don't really do that often. I can schedule a paternity test if you want. Inko offers. I would appreciate that. After confirming he's the father, Toshinori has been amazing. He offered to marry her, but she declined. She would allow him to move in if the baby is born, that he can be just as involved as her. He's charming, and she can see herself settling down with him, but she doesn't want to jump straight into marriage. At the very least they need to go on a date. He sets up the crib, helps her decorate the baby room. Goes shopping with her. She's ecstatic over this. The only problem is that Mitsuki has an issue with him. When she questions her best friend, the woman merely responds with she's got a bad feeling about him. She gets along with him for Inko's sake and that's all she can ask of her. The due dates are getting closer and closer. Of course Mitsuki gives birth before her, and Inko is there for it. Toshi had work unfortunately, but she was there in the hallway waiting to see her best friend and the baby. He's beautiful, Mitsuki. Inko fawns over Katsuki. He looks an awful lot like his mother, and Masaru is bawling over his son. He's always so soft, a perfect match for her hot-headed friend. Of course he is. I made him. He's perfect. Mitsuki's typical brag is there, but it's softer, in a more vulnerable tone as tears prick her eyes. She hopes little Izuku and Katsuki become as good friends as their mothers. Inko is named the godmother, which Inko cries about of course, and she already plans for Mitsuki to be her son's godmother. A few months later, Inko goes into labor. It's not like Mitsuki's. There's a lot more blood with hers and Inko doesn't know if she'll live. She asks Toshinori and Mitsuki to take good care of her son and tells Izuku how much she loves him. She falls asleep. She doesn't wake up. Inko would not be Toshinori's first pick to be the mother to his child. He has nothing against her as a person, she was kind and cheerful, but her quirk was rather weak. He can't deny the potential, so he's not upset about it, but there are stronger quirks out there that would be a greater benefit to One for All. It's not always the first child that is born with One for All, so if Izuku does not possess the quirk, then he will simply find another woman. It'll be easier now that Inko is dead. At the very least he doesn't have to worry about a custody battle. He only proposed to her so that he could stay around Izuku. He needs to observe the boy. Make sure he develops One for All. He can't do that if he doesn't have full custody. Inko didn't accept, but she did allow him to move in with her. Although that would only last until she found a husband, so Toshinori would try to woo her to become that husband. The only downside to her dying is that he's now a single parent. That means he has to deal with the baby on his own. All the screaming and crying drives him nuts. Maybe he can hire a nanny. Yagi Toshinori did not mourn Midoriya Inko. He did not mourn the mother to his child, the woman he claimed to love, Mitsuki's best friend. Mitsuki always knew he wasn't good enough for Inko or Izuku. Still, he was the father so Inko wanted to give him a chance, and she was falling for the act. Now, Inko is dead and Izuku is stuck with Yagi as a father. Yagi has tried to shut Mitsuki out of Izuku's life, but Mitsuki is stubborn. Izuku is her best friend's baby. She's not going to leave him in the hands of someone like Yagi. He eventually gives up on trying to push her away. Mitsuki has no way to prove it, but she is fairly certain Yagi is abusing Izuku. Izuku is 4 now and refuses to say it, but she notices the signs. She sees bruises that Izuku claims is from something else. She almost took Yagi to court, but Masaru talked her out of it. She doesn't have any proof, and when she loses, she will also lose being a part of Izuku's life. Instead, she offers him the love and affection she gives Katsuki, what Inko can't give. Izuku has come to her in tears many times. He sobs about how he needs a quirk. That way he can make his dad proud. She assures him that no matter what, Izuku is someone to be proud of. She's proud of him. When Katsuki hears this, he scoffs and does his own version of cheering him up. What's it matter if you got a quirk or not? No matter what, it won't be nearly as cool as mine. Katsuki laughs. It will too. It'll be even cooler than yours. Izuku yells at him. It dissolves into bickering. Izuku's worries gone. Inko was right. Their brats are as good as friends as her and Inko were. Mitsuki knew she should have taken Izuku when she had the chance. Consequences be damned. It would have been better than the current situation. Katsuki came back from school sad because Izuku wasn't there. She had seen Izu yesterday and there was nothing wrong with the boy. She doubts Yagi would have noticed if Izuku was sick or hurt, and Izuku certainly wouldn't have decided to stay home himself. That boy powered through anything. Even when he shouldn't. I'm sure everything's fine, brat. I'll go check on him, so stay here with your father. She ruffles his hair. I want to come too. Katsuki pouts. If Izu-chan is sick, we don't want you catching it too. Mitsuki cups her hand under Katsuki's chin and wiggles it affectionately. She can tell he's not happy about it, but he doesn't fight much. She drives to Yagi's apartment, knocking on the door. When he opens, she doesn't even bother with a greeting. Where's Izuku? Not here. Comes his short reply. He tries to shut the door, but Mitsuki pushes it back open. Then where is he? Mitsuki snaps. Don't know. I left him somewhere he won't bother me. Yagi replies, annoyed. What? Mitsuki's voice shakes. He was a failure, so I left him. Yagi says it like it's obvious. Like it's natural. Izuku is an angel of a child and you left him. He's 6. He can't take care of himself. Mitsuki yells, but he doesn't care. He doesn't care that he essentially left a child to die. Where is he? Where did you leave him? Mitsuki is 2 seconds away from snapping this man's neck. I don't remember, nor do I care. If you care so much, find him yourself. Mitsuki gives him a heated glare before leaving the apartment. She gets in the car and calls Masaru. She explains the situation with tears in her eyes and tries to find little Izuku, but it's one small child in all of Japan. Masaru files a missing person report and Katsuki, little baby Katsuki, doesn't understand why he won't be seeing his brother anymore. Izuku knew his father didn't like him. He tried to pretend that it wasn't the case. He remembers when his father looked at him without the disappointment or annoyance. Still, he loves his father. Even when his dad hit him or called him names. He feared his father, but he also loved him. Despite it all, he never thought his father would leave him. He's taken care of Izuku for so long. There was always food, and a soft bed even if he outgrew it, and he had plenty of warmth. It's not like he was deprived of anything. Auntie Mitsuki always cuddled Izuku and made him feel safe and bought him toys. He doesn't understand what he did wrong. He begged his father not to leave him. Said he'd do better, but it didn't matter. His father told him it's because of his quirk. Said he was supposed to inherit one for all. Said a weak quirk like Izuku's had no place in his life. Said he was a waste of time and effort. Maybe he was right. When his quirk came in, Izuku could sense things he didn't really know. They were so tiny and there were so many of them. Each individual teeny tiny things that he can't even see were screaming at him, and it was too much. The doctor said it was an anxiety attack, and when he learns to control his quirk it should go away, but each time he could see the shame and anger in his father's face. After the first few times, Izuku learned how to hide it. He cried when no one was there. He stayed silent even when he felt like everything was too much. He eventually got used to it enough to where it didn't always feel like too much, and when it did no one would know. He's good at that. Now, he's alone, and he's crying a lot. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know how to get home. Oh, he can't go home anymore. His dad won't let him. Maybe he can go to Auntie Mitsuki and Uncle Masaru. Then, he remembers an argument from when he was 4. Izuku and Kaken were playing in the backyard when Izuku noticed Kaken's parents arguing. Auntie looked really upset and Uncle Masaru trying to calm her down. He and Kaken looked at each other, then went to hear what was going on. Auntie was talking about how his dad hurts him and she mentioned the word abuse, but he didn't know what that meant. She wanted to adopt Izuku, take care of him even if she had to fight Izuku's dad for him. Uncle Masaru told her that they can't do that. They wouldn't win and they wouldn't be able to see Izuku at all if that happened. Izuku didn't want that. He didn't want that at all. He'd miss them too much. Auntie looks at Uncle with pain in her eyes, but concedes. Kaken looks at Izuku confused. He asked if his dad really did hurt him. The idea was foreign to Kaken. His parents don't hurt him. Why would they? Kaken is cool and a good kid. He doesn't mess up. His parents don't have a reason to hurt Kaken. Izuku didn't answer. He didn't feel like playing anymore either. That night, Izuku looks up the word abuse. He doesn't know if that's what's happening. He asks his cousins next time the last time he saw them. Tenko didn't know either. Hana didn't answer, but she had a sad look in her eyes. Izuku can't go to auntie and uncles. If he does, then he might not see them again. He doesn't want that. Maybe if he stays here his dad will want him back. Maybe this is a test. Maybe if he's good enough, his dad will come back. So, Izuku stays put. He stays and only moves to find shelter in harsher weather, but he doesn't do anything else. By the third day passes, Izuku is starving. He is so hungry and so weak that he can't even move to get food. Man, you sure are pathetic. A voice comes from the entrance to the alley Izuku has been hiding in. He looks to see a boy much older than him. He's got white hair and blue eyes. He leaves, but comes back a few minutes later. In his hands are a juice box and some food. He walks over to Izuku and hands it to him. Izuku stares at him shocked and in awe. You gonna take it or not? Izuku hastily takes it and starts shoving it down his throat. Thanks. He mutters out, his voice raspy and dry. Geez, slow down. I got a little brother about your age. He's annoying, but he's still my little brother, so I gotta take care of him. Anyway, my name's Todoroki Tuya. You better remember it, 'cause I'm gonna be the greatest hero ever. Better than All Might. Todoroki grins, and Izuku believes him. Anyway, I gotta go train. Try not to be so pathetic, 'kay? Izuku is really grateful to him, and he hopes it's not the last time he sees him. Hey, Squirt! A voice calls the next day when Izuku is walking around the town. He's pretty sure that's Todoroki's voice. When he turns to look, there's a piece of bread flying at him. He drops it, but quickly picks it up. Wow, USCK at this. Anyway, it doesn't look like you got a home, so I reckon you're living on the street. Izuku nods. I'd take you to my place, but I don't think my old man would be happy about that, so don't expect me to do that. Izuku would never. He thinks Todoroki is being extremely kind to him as is. I can help you survive on the streets at least. I've never had to, but I watched Aladdin, so I'm an expert. Plus, I'm pretty sneaky. What did you say, Pipsqueak? I'd love to. Izuku nods, extremely grateful. Awesome. First things first, you gotta learn how to steal. Wait, what? Isn't he supposed to become a hero? Besides, Izuku doesn't want to steal. It's necessary. You can't pay for food and water. You're too tiny to hunt, and river water isn't always safe to drink from. So if you want to survive, you have to steal. They sang when they did it, but it's not very sneaky, so I think it's optional. Let me show you how, then you can do it. Izuku watches as Todoroki casually walks into the store. He watches from a distance, then he walks out again. He didn't take anything though. He's honestly relieved. Then Todoroki pulls out a package of chips from his hoodie pocket. Wah, but I didn't see you take anything. Izuku gapes. Duh. That's the point. You just walk around casually, then take what you want. Easy peasy. Now it's your turn. Todoroki pushes Izuku towards the store. Remember, be casual. Izuku nods, then heads into the store nervously. He finds a row of apples, his hands shaking as he reaches for it. Then, he knocks nearly all the apples off the shelf. It was loud, making him flinch. He knows he'll have caught the attention of the store owner, but he can't go back empty-handed to Todoroki. He doesn't want him to be disappointed in him. He quickly shoves the apple in his hoodie pocket, then tries to put the apples back. Hey, what dash? The owner goes toward Izuku, but once he gets close, he plugs his nose and takes a few steps back. Don't worry about that. Don't touch anything. Just get out of here. Izuku nods, then runs back to Tuya, who tsks. I said to act natural. Izuku frowns, and pulls the apple out of his pocket. He needs to do better. Whoa, you got it? That's genius. Why didn't I think of that? Use the clumsy nervous act so they don't suspect anything. Works best for you since no one wants to get near ya. Izuku isn't sure if he's happy or not. Why not? Izuku tilts his head. 'Cause you smell like real bad. Todoroki waves the air around his nose. Oh. It has been a while since he was able to bathe. I think there's a river nearby. I don't have any soap, but anything is better than your current smell. Todoroki grabs Izuku's wrist and drags him towards the river. I don't stink that bad. Izuku huffs. Then you've gone nose blind. Todoroki makes a disgusted face. Because you smell really bad. Like throw up. No, worse. Like poop. Like throw up and poop. Like dash. Okay. I get it. Izuku yells, turning red from embarrassment. Ha ha ha, so you're not completely pathetic. You've got some spine. That's good. Todoroki only laughs as they reach the river. It's not freezing outside, but it's still cold. He's pretty sure he shouldn't go in there. Auntie Mitsuki always got onto him and Kaken when they tried to play in water when it was cold outside. Then he gets pushed into the water, clothes and all. Sea cold. Izuku shouts. It's freezing in the water. Oh good, you can swim. I didn't want to go in after you. Now get clean. You're gross. You're a stupid face, Todoroki. Bleh. Don't call me Todoroki. That's gross. Call me Tuya. You're a stupid face, Tuya. Izuku amends. I am not. Now start scrubbing. Tuya bosses. When he gets out, he's freezing, and cold, and sneezing. At least Tuya lets him wear the backup clothes he brought for himself. And he doesn't seem to mind too much when Izuku latches onto him, needing the warmth Tuya somehow always produces. I guess you probably do need some extra clothes. I'll bring you some of Shoto's clothes tomorrow. Won't he not like his clothes being taken? Meh, if he doesn't like it he can just get new ones. Tuya shrugs. Tuya visits him nearly every day. Sometimes he brings food or clothes. He takes care of Izuku like an older brother. That being said, most of the time Izuku gets sick, he's pretty sure it's Tuya's fault, but he's always there making sure he doesn't die. When Izuku gets injured, Tuya always knows how to treat it. Izuku does too, but it's nice having someone else treat them. Izuku really loves Tuya, but after a few months, Tuya stopped showing up. A week later, he sees Tuya's face on the news. Below it reads, Endeavor's oldest son, Todoroki Tuya, killed in a forest fire. Izuku draws back like he's been burned. Tuya can't be dead. He can't be. They have to be lying. Izuku refuses to believe his older brother is dead. Until it's been months with no sign of Tuya, and being alone in this town isn't possible. Izuku had been spared the worst of it, but with Tuya gone, it's only gotten worse. He can't stay in this town, so he moves. It's safer in the new town. He's still lonely though. Izuku is 13 and so bored. Has been ever since learning to hack. Learning to hack had been fun itself, but ever since then, he hasn't had much to do. Before, he had been so focused on surviving that he hadn't had time to be bored. Anytime he got to himself, he spent learning things. Learning all sorts of science, practicing his quirk, so many different things. Izuku always loved analyzing quirks, and he likes to think he's gotten pretty good at it. That being said, he was hesitant to learn more about his quirk. It hasn't felt like too much in years, but his quirk is why his dad left. He often wondered if it was worth learning more about, but he found it a necessity after a particular distressing night. He had been the reason for a few short circuits, cracks in concretes, and even minor explosions. After lots of testing, he realized just how powerful his weak quirk really is. It's not your typical telekinesis quirk. It's not obviously strong. He can't move mountains. He can't make people fly. He can't move the big things, but he can move the small things. The things no one can see with their naked eye. He can control things on the atomic level. He can cause chemical reactions in inanimate object and living things. He can do so many things with precision that no machine could even come close to him. It's honestly a major power trip. The more he learns, the more he can do. It feels like he can do whatever he wants. He enjoys practicing his quirk, but now he's gotten really good at it. He's learned everything he can on his own, and ever since learning to hack, he's been taking enough money out of his father's checks. He doesn't think they've noticed since he really only takes enough for what he needs, but he doubts he'd be caught even if they did notice. On the off chance that he does get caught, he's not stealing, so he won't get in trouble. Yagi is, unfortunately, still listed as his legal guardian. The worst that would happen is that he's forced to live with the man again. That's not an option Izuku can afford. He didn't plan for it, but he now knows exactly what he's going to do in his spare time. It was late one night, he had wanted some late-night ice cream, and he had heard a suspicious thud while passing an alley. He had poked his head in and seen a mugging that had just started. Hey, leave him alone. Izuku fully enters the alley with no fear. He's been in these situations before. He's no stranger to conflict. Kinda comes with living on the streets for so long. Beat it, kid. This doesn't concern you. If you try to be a hero you'll only get hurt. The attacker gives an annoyed look at Izuku. PFT me, a hero. That's funny. Izuku snorts. He's come to terms a long time ago that he can't be a hero. He tries not to put a lot of faith in what his sorry excuse of a father says, but if the number one hero so adamantly believes he can't be a hero, abandoned him over it, he doesn't think he can be. Doesn't matter what Kaken said. Vigilante then, or whatever you kids call it these days. Just leave before I really hurt you. The guy huffs. Wait, why is he still talking to this guy? Izuku rolls his eyes, then triggers the pineal gland to release melatonin until the man collapses, snoring softly. What did you just do? The victim looks between the bot and Izuku, looking rather scared still. Don't worry, he's just asleep. Izuku smiles at the guy. You're safe now. Thank you. The man gulps, his face filled with gratitude. Yeah. Can't just walk away from something like that. Though you should probably call the cops now. Izuku walks away once the man nods. If he can't be a hero, maybe a vigilante isn't all that crazy. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Izuku scans the clothing section for an appropriate outfit. He isn't sure what an appropriate outfit for vigilantism would be, but he's sure he can figure something out. Definitely something dark. It's best to blend into the shadows instead of sticking out like a sore thumb. That being said, he doesn't really want to dress up in all black, but maybe a dark green? There are a few dark green hoodies, but it's still pretty hot outside. That being said, something with a hood wouldn't be a bad idea. Maybe a light jacket? Yeah, that'll work. What next? A shirt. He could probably use a few shirts for it. Something light and easy to move in. Most of his shirts aren't the best for the type of activity he's about to be doing. He finds his way to the workout shirt section, trying to ignore all the All Might themed ones, until his eyes land the darker colored one. A good portion of them are hero themed, and he likes most of them, but they're also mostly brightly colored. He does find a Gang Orca shirt and a few other darker themed heroes. Once he gets enough shirts, he moves on to the pants section. He'll need something easy to move in. A lot of pants restrict movement, so he'll have to find something that'll give him freedom. He winds up with some sweatpants. Nothing's too loose, but roomy enough to freely move in. He also needs some shoes. The ones he wears currently are good enough for everyday use, but it would be better to invest in proper running shoes. Something really comfy. It takes some time finding a good pair, but it's worth it. They're super comfortable and the right color. Black with dark green accents. He did find one that said juicy on it in sparkles. As hilarious as that would be, the wording would just stick out too much. Finally, something that'll cover his face. He's not too worried about hiding his face, but it doesn't hurt to have something. It doesn't have to be really good, but just covering his eyes will be enough cover since he'll be working at night. He doesn't think he even really needs it, but why not? He has to go to another store for something like that, but it's worth it when he finds what he wants. He didn't even think they sold them, but right in front of him are Eraserhead's goggles. He's not well known, so merch of him is scarce, but Izuku really likes him. He started liking underground heroes not long after he was abandoned. Yagi hates them, so Izuku loves them. He'll dig up everything he can, and they're all pretty cool, but Eraserhead is his favorite. Maybe he'll run into him when he's out being a vigilante. That would be awesome. Next to them he sees the mask Edge Shot wears. He would look so awesome in it. After he buys the goggles and mask, Izuku heads home and tries them on. He doesn't look particularly cool or bad but he still likes it. He doesn't think he needs anything else. Maybe a weapon? Nah. He's good at hand-to-hand, and if that's not enough then he'll add weaponry later. It's still light outside, but maybe he can start his vigilantism tonight. He's just so bored. Once the sun sets, Izuku gets prepared for his first night out. He isn't really sure what routes he should take, if he'll even find some crime. His neighborhood isn't the best, so he's sure he'll find something. By condensing the air molecules in certain spots, he creates invisible stepping stones for a path onto the roof. From there, he makes his way across the city. It's a lot more fun than he thought it would be. He finds a few people in trouble, helps them, then sticks around till the police show up. He hasn't seen any heroes so far, but he wonders how long that'll last. Apparently there's some new vigilante around his patrol area. He hasn't seen him yet, but the past few days there's been reports of a kid coming out of nowhere and taking out criminals. The only thing they know is that he wears a green jacket, he's a young teenager, he wears goggles similar to his own, a mask that only covers the bottom part of his face, and they hear him before they see him. There's a joyous laugh, then the criminal is taken down moments later. They believed he has a sleep-inducing quirk since most of the reports say that the criminal seems to fall asleep upon the boy's arrival. That changed when one particular victim had some injuries, but said the vigilante miraculously healed him. Perhaps the vigilante used some sort of substance to knock out the criminals. Only problem is that all the blood work and tests come out drag-free. It's just like they suddenly fell asleep. He gets the feeling this whole thing will just be a massive headache for him. Why did he have to be assigned to this vigilante case? Heaving a sigh, Shota begins his night tracking down the vigilante. There isn't a particular pattern to the vigilante's path, so he can't narrow it down exactly, but he knows the general area the vigilante will be in. He manages to find him rather quickly. He hears an oddly familiar laugh, then he sees the vigilante pop up just a few minutes later a few rooftops over. Despite being known for his stealth, the vigilante spots him immediately, turning his head. Cool. It's Eraserhead. I wondered when I'd meet a hero doing this. I'm glad it's you. The kid is probably grinning at Shota based on his tone. He was told the vigilante is young, but he didn't realize how young. Looking at him, even in the poor lighting, Shota can tell the kid can't be older than Hitoshi. You recognize me? Shota raises a brow. He's not well known, especially to kids, so it's rare that he's known let alone liked. Course I do. You're my favorite hero after all. The kid declares happily. How did you find out about me? Shota asks. Through lots of persistence. My deadbeat father thinks underground heroes are useless, so I spent a lot of time finding out everything I can about them. Found you on some obscure websites, and became an instant fan. I mean, you're the coolest. The reason I learned hand-to-hand combat. Your only weapon is a capture scarf, and your quirk isn't directly combatant, so you have to rely on your skills and you can't always rely on your quirk, yet you're a great hero. You have to be strong and smart, which you are. How could anyone not be a fan? The kid rants out. He's loud and excited and Shota has never heard such praise. He doesn't care about popularity, he doesn't even want it, but this kid is very flattering. And smart if that analysis says anything. You seem to know a lot about me, but I don't know anything about you. Shota speaks calmly, trying to hide how touched he is. Kinda the point. If anyone finds out my identity I could be sent back to my father, and I'd rather die. The kid laughs nervously. I can make sure that never happens. If you tell me who you are, we can file a police report against your father. As a hero I can take immediate custody over you while everything gets taken care of. Shota assures. He's dealt with this before. He has deemed parents unfit to take care of their child, and taken custody over them until the parent is taken care of. Then the child is moved to either their closest relative or foster care. Tempting, but not possible. He's untouchable. The kid sighs. No one is untouchable. Not when it comes to this. Shota insists. He is. It's fine though. I don't live with him anymore. The kid waves him off. That's not okay. Do you at least have someone taking care of you? Shota asks. No, but I don't need anyone. I borrow money from my father. Enough to take care of myself. I never go hungry or cold. And I eat a lot. This does not help ease Shota's nerves. You shouldn't have to. You're just a kid. I have a son around your age. I can't even imagine him living like that. Shota shakes his head. You've got a kid? That's cool. What's he like? The kid tilts his head. It's clear this kid has been without real interaction for a while. You can find out if you accept my offer. Shota tries. Not happening. The kid says. I do this kind of thing a lot. I have a lot of connections and can pull a lot of strings for you. I'm grateful, but he has a lot more influence than you. Just let me help you when I can. Shota drops it for now, but this won't be the last time he brings it up. Any luck with the vigilante? Hisashi asks when Shota collapses next to him on the bed. Nothing I can go off yet. I knew it would take more than one conversation for me to get anywhere, but I was hoping he would listen more since he's apparently a fan of mine. Shota sighs. It's rare you have a fan, Mr. I like the shadows. Hisashi teases. He said I was his favorite hero. He knows a lot about me and my fighting style. Shota tells his husband. That's interesting. Hisashi puts his hand on his chin in thought. Even when I saw his quirk in action, I still couldn't figure it out. Shota shakes his head. Really? Hisashi widens his eyes in shock. I've seen him walk on air, put people to sleep without moving and heal someone. When I asked, he said it was magic. I hate that I'm starting to believe it. Shota groans. Don't worry, you'll figure it out. Hisashi kisses Shota's cheek. The worst part is, I know he was abused by someone he believes to be untouchable. He's away from it now, but he's alone. From what he said, he was raised by villains or an abusive hero. It sounds more like a hero. One pretty high up, but the only top 10 heroes I know aren't parents, except Endeavor. That being said, I doubt the two are related. Shota leans on Hisashi. The more you talk to him, the more information you'll find. I know you can find out what's going on. Whatever it is, we can help him. I think it would be great for Hitoshi to gain a sibling. Hisashi assures Shota. You're getting ahead of yourself. Shota smirks. I'm planning for a bright future. Hisashi defends. Murdering his family was mostly an accident. He had desperately wanted to have his quirk because maybe then his family wouldn't look at him like he was some sort of disease. Only Izuku made him feel better. He was just petting his dog when he suddenly crumbled into dust. Tenko screamed the same way his sister did. He just tried to catch up to his sister, terrified of what was going on. When he touched her, the same thing happened. He should have figured out what was going on then, but he was too freaked out to realize it. It wasn't until everyone except for his father was gone did he realize his power. Instead of the typical fear he only felt rage upon seeing his father. He can make his father be gone too. Now that his entire family is gone, he's left alone. He's not upset like he should be. He's not really upset that he killed his family, but he does feel grief bubbling inside of him. There were a lot of bad times, but there were some good times too. He did enjoy playing with his sister, and his mom tried to make him feel better even if he could see the disgust on her face. He doesn't know what to do or where to go. That's a lie. He knows kind of what to do. He has seen TV and anytime they do something really bad, they leave. He should probably do that. An hour after leaving his house, he gets hungry. He can't get food anywhere else, so he goes right back home. He grabs his backpack and empties all his school stuff and replaces it with food. Then he really does leave. He doesn't know where to go. He would go to Izuku, and he is really tempted to make his uncle go away too, but he doesn't know where they live. Tenko is scared, and hungry, and tired, and cold, and lonely. Then, the man comes. He's really tall. Probably as tall as Uncle. The man says something that Tenko doesn't hear, but he can see the smile on the man's face. He looks kind. The man hasn't given Tenko any reason not to trust him. He's been nothing but nice. Still, Tenko doesn't quite trust him. It reminds him of when his father was nice to his mother. He remembers every time he was nice, Hana would wonder what he wants this time. Thinking back on it, he remembers his mom ending up sad after his dad was nice to her. Maybe that's why he didn't tell the man about Izuku when he asked if Tenko had any family. The man claims he only asked because he wanted to know if he had any family to return him to, but he's already lived with the man for a month. Tenko says no, he doesn't want to be given to his uncle because his uncle scares him. He is then asked if he knows where his uncle lives. The answer to that is also no, but his uncle has mentioned traveling to America soon. So he tries to get the man to look for his uncle in America, away from Izuku. His uncle would never take Izuku on such a long trip. A month and a half later, the man he has been told to call Sensei goes on a trip to America. He also gives Tenko a new name, Shigaraki Tomura. It's not awful, he guesses, but it's weird he was given a new name altogether. Tenko, Tomura, whatever, does some digging. He's actually given a lot of privacy. The people taking care of him does almost everything he demands. He isn't used to this much authority, but he uses it. He demands to be left alone, and they do. Which allows him to look up Izuku. He just wants to make sure he's okay. Only, he's too late. Izuku is labeled as missing. From that day on, Tenko spends nearly every day searching for him. That is until the status changes from missing to deceased. That day, he destroys nearly everything. He vows to kill his uncle. He may not really like this sensei guy, but he hates All Might as much as Tenko does. He'll take all the help he can get. Mitsuki doesn't believe it. Yagi may have said he found Izuku's dead body, and that detective guy may be fooled. She guesses Yagi told him over the phone and requested it not to be brought up, but Mitsuki isn't. Yagi has lied over and over again. He could say the grass is green and she wouldn't believe him. Even if it's a real possibility, Izuku being 10 and fending for himself alone, she will believe he is out there somewhere. He has to be. She told Katsuki that same thing. He doesn't give up either, neither does Masaru. She just has to have faith they'll see her nephew again. Izuku is 13 now, and really enjoying this vigilante thing. Sure, it gets boring just making the villains fall asleep, but he does other things too. When there's a fire, it's fun finding ways to quickly put it out, clear the smoke, and heal everyone. It makes him super tired, but it's more interesting than the same old taking down villains. So, what do you guys think my quirk is? Izuku asks Eraserhead excitedly. He wonders if anyone can figure it out. It's not that hard when people really think about it, but it's not something that would come to someone's mind. Especially since he has more power than a normal quirk, courtesy of One for All. We don't know. Eraserhead heaves a sigh. He probably shouldn't be telling Izuku this, but he does anyway. They always say to never meet your heroes, but Izuku disagrees. Eraserhead is awesome. Really? Izuku grins. Perhaps a luck quirk? Whatever bad situation you're in always seems to end quickly. You jump off tall buildings yet you never fall. Eraserhead theorizes. Not a bad guess. I can see the logic behind it. Izuku nods. So I'm guessing I'm wrong. Eraserhead doesn't look surprised. When you find out, it'll make sense. Izuku assures him. When? Eraserhead asks. Yeah. Secrets don't really stay secrets for long. Not that it matters so long as certain people don't find out. Izuku hums. And who are the certain people? Eraserhead raises a brow. Izuku knows what he's doing, but it's always fun talking to Eraserhead, and it's hard to lie to him. If it's something that will flat out give him away, he just doesn't answer. The police. If the police find out, so will Naomosa. He likes him a lot, but the detective had a blind spot for Izuku's father. He probably wouldn't hesitate to send him off to his dad. Not that Eraserhead knows this. Instead, the man will probably think it's only because he'll be able to be tracked if they find out his quirk. And what makes you think I won't tell them if I find out? I want to know your identity too. Eraserhead points out. This did come across Izuku's mind, but he sincerely doubts it. You can find out my identity on your own. You don't need their help. If you do find out who I am, don't tell them. You'll realize who my father is. That he's untouchable. And you care enough to not rat me out and have me sent directly to the man who won't care if he hurts me. Izuku says. He could be wrong about this, but he sincerely doubts it. Eraserhead cares about the people he helps. He wouldn't send a kid to an abuser. He's smart. And like I said, I can help you. I'll do anything I can to help you. Eraserhead says so earnestly, but I believe you. That's partly why I can't tell you. You'd wind up wrecking your career. Izuku shakes his head. Don't worry about me. Worry about yourself. Eraserhead speaks. I'm happy. Life is great. Izuku smiles. He really enjoys his time as a vigilante. Honestly, he misses human interaction. He never realized how lonely he was. Happy kids don't decide to be vigilantes. Eraserhead does have a point. Well, I guess I wasn't the happiest, but I'm happy now. Izuku insists. Kid, being a vigilante shouldn't be the highlight of your day. Please tell me you have people to rely on. Eraserhead places a hand on Izuku's shoulder. I don't need anyone. I have everything taken care of. Izuku shrugs. He tries not to think about this very faint affectionate touch. When was the last time someone cared enough about him to give any sort of physical affection? Since Tuya? Not that Tuya was all that touchy either. Maybe living necessities, but emotionally? Do you have family? Friends? Someone you can talk to and just fully be yourself around? Eraserhead looks directly in Izuku's eyes. It feels like he's able to look right at him. Past his goggles. To the point where he has to remind himself that X-ray vision is not Eraserhead's quirk. Luckily, Izuku is saved from answering the question by a loud thump. It sounds like something is going on a few allies over, so he literally runs away from the question. Upon seeing a guy holding a knife threateningly, Izuku jumps off the building with his signature laugh. He lands safely by making the air molecules condensed enough to allow for a slower fall. He immediately makes the knife so brittle it crumbles in the man's tight grip. The man startles, then turns around. Hi. Izuku waves, then punches the man, causing him to stumble back. You got this? Izuku looks up at Eraserhead, who looks so done with him. Yes. He answers, simply already attacking the criminal. You good? Izuku turns to the victim. The victim gives a hesitant nod, but Izuku knows there's some damage. Probably going to be bruises, but Izuku can heal it. You are probably going to develop bruises. I can heal it. Are you okay with that? I guess. The victim gulps. Her mind is probably scattered right now, but Izuku takes his opportunity. You may feel a little weird. Izuku warns, then gets to work. Healing is a very long and exhausting process. Luckily, Izuku can speed it up. This becomes science-heavy and how the human body heals. If you aren't interested, I'll let you know when it's over. If you are interested, keep reading. First step, chemotaxis. Forcing platelets and white blood cells to navigate through the body takes more effort than necessary. The human body wants to be healed. Where the injury is, the body will release chemical signals telling the necessary cells where they need to be. Izuku just helps the chemical signals speed along. The body's blood vessels immediately contract, so he really just gives the cells more energy to complete their jobs faster. The platelets are able to temporarily seal up the injured parts and stop the bleeding. Next step is a little more complex. Bacteria can still enter unwanted places even without external injuries. At the site of injuries, the neutrophils and macrophages will gather there and begin phagocytosis for bacteria and damaged cells. This step is necessary, but speeding up the process can cause some unfortunate side effects. Due to all the energy this takes up, some energy is lost to heat. Well, speeding this process that takes days to do to mere seconds, can release massive heat. Luckily, he can keep most heat from escaping. Next up is rebuilding the injured tissue. This is mainly possible through proliferation. This allows a new network of blood vessels to form which lets the wound start pulling itself together to heal. Again, all Izuku really does is help this process along. All that's left is for the tissues to strengthen up, which doesn't need his help. It'll take some energy, not enough to be noticeable, and most likely won't cause any sort of pain. This is then end of the science portion. At the end of all this, the victims are going to be pretty drained. Not too bad, due to how much energy Izuku was able to prevent being wasted, but enough to where Izuku will hand them an energy bar. Any food allergies? Izuku asks. He would hate to give them something that will cause an allergic reaction. Lemons. The woman blinks. They're always so compliant when confused. Makes his job easier. I've got banana. He grins and takes out the banana-flavored energy bar from his pocket and hands it to her. You should probably call the cops now. Izuku looks to Eraserhead, who already has the criminal passed out and caught in his capture weapon. Cool, you beat him already. I take it you've already attended to her? Eraserhead points to the woman nibbling on her energy bar. MHM, and now I take my leave. Izuku gives him a peace sign, then condenses the air molecules into solids and uses them as stepping stones to reach the roof. After speaking to the woman to make sure she is truly fine, she tells Shota how the vigilante healed her. She doesn't feel any pain, just tired. She does look tired, but not too tired to where she can't function. She was already healed by the time Shota finished his very short fight. They weren't going to be light injuries either. He's been slammed against hard surfaces before in fights. They always leave horrible bruises along his back, yet he healed her in seconds. The police and ambulance show up minutes later. Not that the ambulance is needed since there are no more injuries. Except for the mildly injured attacker. The police take the woman's statement and the attacker into custody. Detective Tsukachi approaches him looking rather tired. I don't suppose you're any closer to finding out his quirk? Tsukachi asks with no real hope. None. I saw him jump off that building, land safely, turn that knife into the most brittle knife I've ever seen, heal the victim, then walk on the air. Shota gripes. Great. Tsukachi sighs. You don't suppose there's a quirk that does everything? Shota asks, completely defeated. This kid's quirk is way too complex and powerful. He's just glad the kid isn't a villain. I doubt it. Then Tsukachi's eyes widen. What is it? Shota narrows his eyes. He's obviously picked up something. Hopefully nothing. I just hope I'm wrong about this. Tsukachi goes to leave. About what? I need to know whatever you're thinking. Shota insists. If Tsukachi knows anything, Shota needs to be informed. You said he was most likely abused. Probably raised by villains or heroes. Next time you see him, make sure he's not raised by villains. Tsukachi says that then leaves. Whatever it is, he better know soon. Shota arrives home exhausted. He has no idea what Tsukachi thinks might be going on and is no closer to finding out what's going on with this kid. Tough night? Hitoshi greets from the couch. Just a tiring one. Shota sighs. No leads on that vigilante kid? Hitoshi asks. Nothing. Shota answers, sitting next to his son. I don't think I've ever seen you stumped before. Hitoshi chuckles. Not this much. Shota admits. But every little thing counts. These days, talking to Toshinori. Rarely gets Naomosa anywhere. He still loves him, they'll always be friends no matter the tragedies they face, but ever since losing Izuku and fighting All for One, Toshinori hasn't been the same. Naomosa doesn't blame his friend. Izuku's disappearance hit them both hard. Toshinori couldn't bring himself to talk about it, and Naomosa threw himself into work. He tried finding any sort of lead on the boy, but he never got anywhere. Because of his failure, Izuku is dead. He doesn't have a lot of details on the case, but he's been trying to find out what happened. Even if Toshinori can't bring himself to talk about anything. Naomosa first wanted to discuss the possibility of All for One still being alive with Toshinori, but decided against it. Toshinori would only insist that there is no way All for One could be alive. He also doesn't take any sort of time to find any of All for One's organizations, and Naomosa is done asking for his help regarding the issue. Now, he just wants to talk to the vigilante. If he can just ask him a few questions. He doesn't approve of vigilantes, and he doesn't like when heroes choose to work with rather than apprehend a vigilante, but he's willing to make an exception when it comes to All for One. Unfortunately, he hasn't even caught a glimpse of this new vigilante. Typically, it doesn't take long for Naomosa to at the very least see whatever new vigilante there is. This kid is trying very hard to evade all cops, and he's doing a very good job at it. This means Naomosa has to resort to asking Eraserhead to set up a meeting for him. He's already promised not to attempt to arrest or even stop the boy. He merely wants to talk. Even with that, the new vigilante refuses to speak with Naomosa. It doesn't help that Eraserhead's fondness for the boy prevents Naomosa from seriously hunting down the boy or getting Eraserhead to ask all the questions Naomosa asks him to. Instead, Naomosa gets told that they shouldn't be interrogating the vigilante. The kid's not a threat to the public and interrogating him would only push him away from them instead of off the streets. He understands. He does. This vigilante is a child just wanting to do some good. If they start ambushing him with questions, then the kid will distance himself from Eraserhead. A kid soloing taking down villains more than he already isn't something either of them want. That being said, if Naomosa is right, the kid is in serious danger and potentially has invaluable information. It took much longer than Naomosa wanted for Eraserhead to relent. Eraserhead only agrees to mentioning the villain by name, meaning Naomosa is forced to give up the name. In his desperation, Naomosa gives out that highly classified information and is left to wait for whatever answer the child gives Eraserhead. Shota is aware that the vigilante could be lying. That being said, he sincerely doubts it. He has been a hero for over a decade. In that time, he has gotten very good at determining whether or not he's being lied to. It is harder to tell with so much of the boy's face covered, but Shota would still be able to tell. Above all, he knows what someone sounds like when they're lying because they're scared. He is a father, a teacher, and a hero. Students have lied to him plenty of times before due to fearing punishment. Hitoshi has lied to him and Hizashi many times in the beginning due to fear of abandonment. Victims have lied to him many times because they fear what the villain would do to them if they told the truth. While Shota knows he could be lied to by this kid, he doubts the kid would be able to fool Shota so much. From what Shota can tell, the kid doesn't lie often. At least, he hasn't lied to Shota so far. Shota will receive cheeky responses and plenty of sarcasm, but the vigilante has never outright lied to Shota so far. This is why Shota doesn't want to interrogate the kid. That being said, if Tsukachi truly believes the kid is caught up in something, it's worth at least asking about. Which leads Shota to a rooftop in the middle of the night. This is typically where he can find the kid looking out at the city. Most of the time sitting or standing on solid air. Shota thinks the kid uses his quirk that way just to confuse Shota. He's a brat like that. Eraser. The kid is probably grinning under that mask as he bounds towards Shota. He always sounds so excited when he greets Shota. Kid. Shota nods. Any cases you're on? You know, besides watching Little Ol' Me. The vigilante asks, stopping right in front of Shota. That depends. Shota begins. He's hesitant to tell this kid anything. Not because of a lack of trust, but because if Tsukachi is wrong, if this kid isn't already involved with this villain, then Shota is bringing him into it. He knows that the moment he tells this child the name of this villain, the kid will delve into his own research and force himself right into the case. And if half the things Shota has heard during his short research of this man, it's far too dangerous for a child, but if Tsukachi is right? If this child is already a part of it? Well, Shota needs to help him. On? The kid tilts his head upon Shota's paws. If you have information on a villain named All for One. Shota ultimately decides to take the risk and hopes that this child has some sort of self-preservation in him. He sincerely doubts it. All for One? That name does sound oh. Realization hits the kid and it looks like Tsukachi was right to some degree. Nah, Detective Tsukachi put you up to this, didn't he? So you do know of him. Shota sighs. I still refuse to meet with the detective, but I will agree to a phone call. I know his quirk will still work that way. The kid says and sits down on absolutely nothing. I'm sure he will agree to that. Shota decides not to comment on the fact that the kid knows more than he should. The kid said he wasn't raised by villains, claimed he hasn't even interacted with them outside of his vigilante time, but he also knows about this villain that's so obscure that not even Shota could find much information on him from any credible source. This'll be a while. Wanna sit? The brat has the gall to pat the air beside him. I can't float. Comes his flat response. Neither can I. Well, actually, I might be able to, but it would be really difficult. Anyway, I'm not. I'm sitting on a solid air. Well, not air since air is a gas, but solid oxygen and nitrogen. Point is, it's safe. The brat assures. This is potentially useful information. Maybe. He'll file it away for later anyway. He decides to humor the kid and hesitantly sits down, testing the area until he finds something solid and completely invisible. So this is how he moves in the air. This is definitely important information. He'll add it to the file. For now, he should call Tsukachi. Eraserhead? Did you contact the vigilante? What did he say? Tsukachi asks hurriedly once Shota dials his number and the man picks up on the second ring. This is another reason Shota was so hesitant in mentioning these things to the kid. Tsukachi has been behaving oddly for this case. He hasn't been level-headed, and Shota isn't entirely sure how much he trusts Tsukachi in the situation, but he's the only detective and one of the incredibly few people who knows anything about this case, so Shota keeps a quiet eye on Tsukachi. I have him with me now. He agreed to a phone call, but refuses to meet in person with you. I have you on speaker now. Shota tells him. That's right, detective. I'm the vigilante that's been doing a wonderful job of keeping this city safe. The kid is trying to keep it hidden, but Shota can hear how tense and nervous he is. It makes sense for a vigilante to be wary of the police, but this feels different. He has no idea what's going on. So you are involved with him somehow. It's not accusatory, but he is shocked. Kind of. I've never met or interacted with the dude, but I have heard stories. Honestly, I don't know anything more than you do. Actually, I probably know way less than you. Sorry, but I don't think I'll be of any help. I don't have any new information for you. The kid says, and that's a bit of a relief to Shota. He doesn't know why the kid would have come across the stories, but it's a good thing he isn't directly involved. What? You've never met him? Tsukachi's voice comes across baffled. No. Why do you think I have? Do I strike you as a villain? The kid asks. Your quirks. I only know of one way someone can have multiple quirks. Wait, what? Tsukachi thought the kid had multiple quirks? He supposes nothing is impossible when it comes to quirks, but that's almost unheard of. He thought the rumors of all for one gifting and taking quirks away were false. Even then he thought the human body capable of only having one quirk. What? Multiple quirks? I only have one quirk and it's completely mine. Like I said, I've never met the dude. The kid shakes his head sounding extremely confused. Why would you think I have more than one quirk? You can walk on air, heal people in an instant, and cause people to fall asleep in an instant. Tsukachi says. Oh. I suppose that makes sense from your point of view, but I promise it's all just from a singular quirk. I worked hard to be able to do all this stuff. The kid assures. Whatever his quirk is, it's insanely powerful. And what quirk could allow you to do this? Tsukachi asks. Magic. Comes the boy's cheeky response. Despite us asking you these questions, I hope you will stay far away from this villain. You shouldn't get involved. Shota says. He hates the thought of this boy purposefully putting himself in the path of this very dangerous villain. I would love to, but I'm not sure how much of a choice I have. Well, maybe I can become a hermit, but I'd rather not. Still, I'll keep my distance as much as possible. If I lose and he somehow takes my quirk, Japan is done for. You think I'm strong? He could probably use my quirk better than me. Especially if he combines it with other quirks. If I can kill people without even moving, he could kill all of Japan's heroes in a day. He'll be even more unstoppable than he already is. He can what now? What was that about killing people? Tsukachi asks with the same sentiment as Shota. Oh. Don't worry. I wouldn't, but yeah. It would be beyond easy to kill someone with my quirk. You guys know I can heal people, but I can also really damage someone either non-fatally or fatally. Quickly clotting blood, preventing oxygen to into certain body parts, cause organ failure, cause infection, the possibilities are endless. This is why I've trained so hard. So that I don't accidentally hurt or kill someone. The kid explains hurriedly. He does believe that the kid won't hurt someone on purpose, but it's still concerning that anyone holds that much power. One slip up and... It's no wonder the boy has trained so hard. What exactly does your quirk do? Tsukachi breathes. Not telling. Shota can tell the boy is grinning under his mask. Of course not. Shota sighs. If you ever do need help with your quirk, I can help you. I have plenty of experience helping kids with their quirks. Shota offers, just in case. He'd rather the kid know he can come to Shota in case of any issues instead of trying to do it himself. Oh, thanks, but I doubt I'll need it. Though I will keep it in mind. Your quirk is probably really useful for that sort of thing. The kid laughs in good spirit, completely oblivious to Shota and Tsukachi's concern. Once again, Shota feels like the laugh is familiar. That night, when Shota and the kid go their separate ways, Shota asks Tsukachi if the laugh sounded familiar to him. Yeah, it sounded a lot like All Might. Tsukachi responded. The irrational part of Shota wants to deny that purely because of how much the kid despises All Might, but, when he thinks about it, he has to agree. When he gets home, he looks up a video of All Might. He skips to the part where he laughs, closes his eyes, and he can hear how similar it is to the vigilante's laugh. Who are you and what did you do with my husband? Hisashi jokes. He also came home late due to being at his radio station. He only got off a little before Shota, and just got out of the shower. His hair still wet and a towel wrapped around his waist. You know how I told you the kid's laugh sounds familiar? Well, I figured out who it sounds like. Shota pauses the video. You mean the kid who despises All Might laughs just like him? That's ironic. Hisashi blinks. It's very similar, but the kid's laugh is a bit happier, like he's thrilled every time he laughs. It sounds so young and genuine. Shota explains. It sounds nice and I can't wait to hear it myself. Hisashi walks over and kisses Shota's cheek. Izuku is very proud of himself. He managed to talk to Naomosa and not spill everything. His younger self could never. Anytime Izuku would do something he wasn't supposed to, Naomosa would know. Izuku wouldn't even have to talk. If he broke something, spilled something, or anything, Naomosa knew. He would raise an eyebrow and Izuku would spill everything. Naomosa was rarely angry with him, only when Izuku did something particularly dangerous. Nothing how his father would act. Izuku always begged for Naomosa to not tell his dad, but he typically did. He understands why. Naomosa had no idea what his friend was actually like to Izuku, and any loving non-abusive parent wouldn't beat their kid for an accident, but his father never failed to. He knows that if something broke, the owner deserves to know, and the parent should know. Naomosa was always nice to Izuku and never did anything to deliberately hurt Izuku, but he did. A lot. Still, Izuku's not mad. It's not Naomosa's fault. The only blame is on Yagi. Even after all this time, Izuku would probably tell Naomosa everything if he ever came face to face with the detective. He also knows that if Naomosa finds him out, he'll tell his father and send him straight to Yagi. If it weren't for that, he'd tell Naomosa everything. Because he misses the man and Izuku needs more information. He needs to know more about All for One. About One for All. About how his quirk works. About a lot of things. There's only a handful of people who can help him, and even fewer who won't tell anyone about Izuku. In fact, he can only think of one. Grandpa might believe him. He will definitely help him, and he's the most likely person to not tell Yagi. He hopes he's right because if he isn't, his freedom and happiness may never belong to him again. Izuku may call Torino Grandpa, but they're not actually related. His grandma died when Yagi was still a teenager and Torino took over raising and mentoring him. So when Izuku was born, Gramp Torino demanded to be part of his life and acted like a grandpa to Izuku. He probably missed Gramp Torino the most. To his surprise, Gramps lives in the same house he remembers. It also looks exactly the same. He knocked first, but there wasn't an answer. Figuring he was out of the house, Izuku may have picked a lock and may have entered that way. It's nice seeing the house again. There's still pictures of him on the walls. Plenty with him and Gramps. A few he remembers were taken on birthdays, and the presents Izuku had given him are still on display. It's nice knowing he hasn't been forgotten. That Gramps still loves him. He walks over to the old computer and wonders if his old Snake High score is still there. It is. He was a master at the game. Still is. Eventually Izuku gets hungry, and makes himself at home. Finding some of his old favorite snacks. He's surprised that he still buys them. They were never Gramps' favorite. About 30 minutes later, he heard the doorknob rattling. He takes the opportunity to hide in the dark corner of the ceiling. They always played pranks on each other much like this. Gramps enters the house carrying a sack of groceries. He looks around, pauses, then sets the bag down on the kitchen counter. I may be an old man, but I'm still pretty spry. I suggest leaving before I get serious. Well, that didn't take long. Izuku laughs, jumps down, lands on his feet and looks at his grandpa with a grin. So I guess you're Grump Torino now. Sorahiko stares wide-eyed at the boy in front of him. Only one person has ever called him that. And he only knows one person that has those bright emerald eyes, dark green hair, and freckles sprinkled on his face. He doesn't know how this is possible. Izuku is gone, yet here he is. Grown into a 13-year-old boy. Vastly different yet still the same as the 6-year-old etched into his memories. Izuku? Sorahiko whispers. The one and only. Izuku, Izuku, his grandson gives a two-fingered salute. How are you here? I thought you were dead. Sorahiko wants to hug the boy, but he's frozen in shock. Dead? What? Why would you think that? Izuku tilts his head. He doesn't know. Toshinori saw you die, kiddo. Sorahiko gulps. That's what he told you guys? I thought Yagi would have made up some lie about me running away or getting kidnapped. I never thought he'd tell everyone I died. Izuku gapes. What an a-hole. What do you mean? Sorahiko asks slowly. Still grappling with this situation. Well, I never died. When I disappeared it was because Yagi took me to the red light district and abandoned me. I never saw him again after that. Well, besides the posters and TV stuff anyway. Kinda hard to avoid looking at the #1 hero when he's literally everywhere. Izuku explains. Sorahiko can't imagine it at first. He remembers how he looked at Izuku, happy that he has a son, then he remembers how that look changed when Izuku developed his quirk. He didn't realize it before, but once Toshinori found out Izuku didn't inherit One for All, he started resenting the boy. Sorahiko knew Toshinori was concerned about it. About not being able to pass along One for All. So was Sorahiko, but that didn't mean it changed how he viewed Izuku. Sorahiko still loves Izuku. Always thought of him as a grandson ever since Toshinori showed him the baby. Sorry. I know Yagi is pretty much your kid, so you know Izuku begins. No, boy. Don't apologize. I'm sorry. I failed you. I allowed my love for Toshinori to cloud my judgment and blind me to how he treated you. Sorahiko takes a step forward. He has sorely failed this boy. How could he be so blind? How could they all be so blind? That's not your fault. You love him. And who suspects someone they love, especially the #1 hero, of child abuse and abandonment? Izuku is far too forgiving. Abuse? Sorahiko whispers. If Toshinori abandoned Izuku, then it's not a leap to think he abused him too. Still, it shocks Sorahiko to his core and he feels like someone dumped an ice bucket on him. Oh. Yeah. SCKED, but not a big deal. I'm better now. You know, no abuse. Plus, I've got a great hold on my powers now, so on the rare occasion I do get hurt, I can heal myself quickly. Hold on, what? I thought you had a weak telekinesis quirk. You could barely lift a pebble. Sorahiko blinks. Not exactly. I can control small things, but it is far from weak. I can control small things. Really small things. Microscopic. Molecular. Atomic. Small things. Guess what the world is made of? Small things. It's actually really fun. Izuku rambles. He never thought he'd get to hear him go on like this. He missed him so much. Wow, what's with the tears, Gramps? Nothing, kid. I just missed you. Sorahiko wipes away his tears. You know that if you cry, then I'll cry, then we'll both just be crying. Izuku's voice wobbles. He's just how he remembers. Heh, never change, kid. Sorahiko doesn't realize Izuku had even moved before he feels arms wrapped around him. His arms are immediately around Izuku as they both cry. Once they eventually collect themselves, they pull away from the embrace. So what took you so long to come to me, brat? Sorahiko's voice comes out raspy. I was afraid if anyone saw me again, they'd send me back to Yagi. Izuku sniffs. Izuku, I would never send you to someone who hurts you. Nor would anyone else. Sorahiko assures. Naomosa might. He won't want to believe that Yagi did everything. And they tell each other everything. Besides, I didn't want to risk anyone getting in trouble for me. Izuku explains. Sorahiko understands the concern, but Izuku doesn't know everything. If you tell him the truth, he won't. He'll make sure you never go back to Yagi. Sorahiko tells him. I'm not sure about that. I don't know how much he'll be in denial. And people do dumb things when their judgment is clouded. Sorahiko can't argue with that. He doubts Naomosa would, but he doesn't know for certain. So you don't want me to tell anyone? Sorahiko assumes. That would be preferable. Izuku nods. He may not like it, but Sorahiko will do what Izuku wants. He owes him that much. Are you safe? Sorahiko asks. Oh, yeah. I learned how to hack and have been making sure Yagi covers all my needs financially. I got my own apartment, I have more than enough clothes, and I have 3 meals a day. Life's great. I even have a sort of friend. Izuku grins. And education-wise? Are you going to school? Education is important. No, but I am learning things. I know it's important, so I try to learn all the subjects, but I end up mostly learning science. It's a fun subject. Izuku admits. At least he makes some sort of attempt. You need a well-balanced education, kid. Sorahiko scolds. Fine. I'll pick up some textbooks at the library. Izuku huffs. I would rather not actually go to school. It raises the chances of being found out. Sorahiko doesn't push the subject. He has no right to. He'll let Izuku do whatever he wants. He owes him that much. Okay, now that we settled all that, I think I should probably learn more about One for All and All for One. I definitely need to know about the man that will be hunting me down. Izuku says. So that's why Izuku suddenly showed up. All for One is dead, kid. You don't have to worry about him. You're safe now. Toshinori left for America and killed him shortly after you disappeared. Sorahiko says. It's one of the few things Toshinori did right, apparently. He's dead? Izuku tilts his head. Does Naomosa know? He knows, but he has doubts. Kid, he became obsessed with your case. Hurt his friendship with Toshinori since he wouldn't give any details. He believes All for One is still alive and possibly responsible for your disappearance and eventual death. Sorahiko sighs. Oh. I'm sorry. Izuku looks away with traces of guilt. It's not your fault, Izuku. It's Toshinori's fault. That being said, I do hope you tell him soon. We can take care of the legal issues and make sure you don't end up with him. Sorahiko tries again. Izuku shouldn't be alone. I'd rather not. Izuku says hesitantly. I just don't want to risk it. Besides, I'm really happy right now. Izuku does look genuinely happy. I'll drop it if you promise to come to me if you ever need anything and to visit regularly. Honestly, he wishes Izuku could live with him, but he knows Izuku won't go for it. He's incredibly stubborn. Of course. I missed you, Gramps. Izuku gives Sorahiko another big hug. He hasn't felt this happy in 7 years. Izuku is lost and thought the train ride and walk home. He had asked Gramps about One for All, but not even he knew a lot about its history. Just that it's inherited from generation to generation and grows more powerful with each generation. Izuku is the 9th wielder, which explains why he can use so much of his quirk without a lot of backlash. He really should have saved the thinking for when he got home. If he had, maybe he wouldn't have been dragged into an alley held at gunpoint. He freezes for a moment because he can't believe this is actually happening to him. What sort of vigilante turns into a victim so easily? It's a little embarrassing. He's tempted to use his quirk, but decides against it. He probably shouldn't use it while he's a civilian. Leave him alone. Wait, isn't that typically Izuku's line? They both turn to see a guy around Izuku's age. He's blonde with a black lighting mark in his hair. He's obviously scared, but still prepared to fight. Beat it key dash, while the guy's distracted Izuku takes the opportunity to hit him a few times to quickly knock him out. Whoa! That was awesome. The guy looks at Izuku with wide eyes. Thanks, so was what you did. Izuku smiles. But I didn't actually do anything. The blonde scratches the back of his neck. Nonsense. You were the perfect distraction. Not that Izuku really needed it, but it did make things easier. Besides, that was really brave of you. You were ready to fight him on my behalf and you don't even know me. Well, what kind of hero aspirer am I if I don't help someone is trouble? That's a solid line. And really cool. Izuku approves. You want to be a hero? That's pretty cool, but I do recommend buffing yourself up. You need muscles to be a hero. Izuku says. I was kinda thinking I could just use my quirk to stop him. He looks over at the criminal. I don't recommend that. You could get charged with vigilantism. Bit ironic coming from Izuku, but yeah. Oh. He pales slightly. Besides, you can't rely on your quirk all the time. You need to learn other things. Izuku informs. Like what you did? He asks. Exactly. I can teach you if you want. Izuku offers. He still has way too much time on his hands when it's not dark. Really? That would be awesome. He says. Great. I'm Izuku M. Shimura, by the way. Yikes, he almost gave out his old last name. That's not great for when he's trying to keep his identity a secret. Denki Kaminari. Kaminari holds out his hand for Izuku to shake, which he gladly does so. This is gonna be great. Denki is starting to think his new friend mentor is some sort of criminal. He seems nice, but there's a few things striking Denki as not right. For starters, Shimura is very avoidant of the police. When Denki finally suggested they call the cops or someone to arrest the criminal, he laughed and asked Denki to do that. Then said he had somewhere to be. Leaving only after asking Denki for his number so they can figure out this whole him teaching Denki how to fight thing. Plus, actually that's all he's got, but that's a major red flag, right? Probably enough to make Denki not want to be taught by him, yet he winds up responding to the text regardless. Kaminari, right? The text reads. Yup, so you're Shimura? Denki responds. That's me. Shimura sends a smiley face attached to it. He replies pretty fast. So what does training look like with you? Denki asks after a moment. He doesn't want to end the conversation so quickly, but they also don't have a lot of things to talk about right now. The normal stuff, I guess. You'll need to bulk up, so be prepared for muscle and stamina training. Also sparring so you can learn techniques. Possibly quirk training, too if you want. Shimura sends. Denki looks it over and blinks. Shimura sounds like he knows his stuff. Looks like it too. The guy is built. He has a lot of muscle for someone so small and fast. Plus, he's willing to help Denki with his quirk on top of physical training. I would actually really appreciate that if you want to, of course. Denki responds. Great. I love analyzing quirks. I can get started on a plan if you text me your availability. I'm free whenever every day. Shimura tells Denki. I don't have much going on outside of school, so I guess I'm free Monday through Friday after school and whenever on the weekends. Denki says. He really doesn't have much going on. He gets along with people just fine, but he's never actually clicked with anyone enough to hang out with someone after school. Then I'll start planning. We can meet up tomorrow around 4 o'clock at the park if you want. Shimura suggests. I'll be there. Denki easily agrees. He's actually pretty excited about this. Can't wait. That night, Denki falls asleep confident that Shimura isn't planning to murder him tomorrow. Izuku starts patrol in high spirits. Life was already great, but now it's even better. He actually has a friend. He thinks. They're friends, right? He at least has someone to talk to outside of his vigilante hours. Eraserhead is great, but it's a bummer his only time around people is only at night. You seem happier than usual. Eraser notes upon Izuku's arrival. I made a friend. Izuku tells him proudly. A friend? That's good. Eraser nods. It's great. I haven't had a friend my age since I was 6. Izuku laughs. He has a friend. He has social skills now. Since you were 6? Eraser blinks. In forever. But now I have a friend. A really cool friend. He's letting me teach him how to fight and I even get to analyze his quirk. He's pretty awesome and wants to be a hero. He'll be a great one. Izuku rambles on. He's just so excited. And you're teaching him how to fight? Eraser asks. Yup. Just because I use my quirk all the time doesn't mean I don't know how to fight without it. Izuku says. And if he wants to be a hero he can't just rely on his quirk. Gotta be diverse, right? Right. You would be a great hero, kid. You've got more potential than most kids I see. Eraser comments. We should start actually patrolling. Izuku takes off ahead of Eraserhead. He really doesn't know how much longer he can deny his favorite hero, even if he knows he can't be a hero. The list of people who are aware of All for One is incredibly short. Shota asked to know who all is involved and or knows about the case. So far only the Hero Commission, Tsukachi, All Might, an old retired pro named Gran Torino, Nedzu, apparently the vigilante he is now calling Problem Child, and the most recent addition being Shota himself. With Tsukachi being so tight-lipped about everything, Shota decides to find another potential source of information. He refuses to go to the Hero Commission, he prefers not to do anything with All Might, he really doesn't want to involve the kid any more than he already has, he doubts Gran Torino will be too keen on Shota tracking him down, which leaves Nedzu. That's also something he doesn't want to do, but knows logically it's the best course of action. This is what brings Shota to knocking on Nedzu's office during Shota's planning PRD. You may enter. Comes Nedzu's voice, to which Shota enters the office with increasing dread. Ah, Aizawa, I was wondering when we would be speaking. Would you like some tea? I'll take some. Shota isn't surprised Nedzu knew Shota would be coming here. It makes sense Tsukachi would inform Nedzu that Shota and the latest vigilante know at least something about a case they're working on. He waits for the tea to be served before carrying on. Who exactly is All for One? Shota sees no point in beating around the bush. He needs answers. I take it Tsukachi didn't give you much information? Nedzu takes a sip of his tea. Shota shakes his head. Then I suppose I should start from the beginning. A long time ago, in the beginning of the Quirk era, there were 2 brothers. Oh, it's one of those stories. Should Shota send a message to Hisashi telling him to pick up Hitoshi without him? He may be a while. Essentially, it's one big family problem with All Might being in the center of it. A villain centuries old with the ability to take and give quirks, with thousands of quirks at his disposal and as many people working for him. A portion of it, he heard from rumors, but he didn't put much faith in them. Didn't believe them. Now, he's left to wonder how exactly a kid got involved in it all. A thought enters his mind, but he sincerely doubts it. Does All Might have a kid? Shota asks anyway. Even if he's wrong, which he probably is, he should at least know if another kid is involved in this. He does not. He did once, but I'm sorry to say the child died years ago. Which brings me to the next piece of information you need to know. Over the years, Tsukachi has become obsessed on a level that clouds his judgment. Despite All Might killing All for One, Tsukachi still believes him responsible for the death of the boy. Even if he were somehow alive, I do not believe All for One would kill All Might's son then simply not tell him. Nedzu shakes his head. No, the man would use it against All Might somehow. I do not believe All for One is behind the boy's disappearance and ultimately his death. The information hits Shota hard. He may not like All Might, but the fact that All Might had a kid, a son, then lost him is a horrific thing. He can't even imagine losing Hitoshi, especially when Hitoshi was so young. He doesn't think he would ever be able to recover. Let alone go out each and every day smiling to continue to be a symbol of peace. Tsukachi did inform me a little of this new vigilante, but I was hoping you could offer me a little more as someone who spends a great deal of time with the boy. Nedzu says. He's a brat, but he's a good kid. If only I could get him off the streets and enrolled into UA. He's definitely running from an abusive father, and is what's keeping him from telling me anything other than his father is so high profile he's untouchable. Shota goes on to tell Nezu everything he's come to find out about the kid. From the crazy different things Shota has seen, to the small details Shota has picked up, reminds Nezu of when Shota adopted Hitoshi. Any theories on what his quirk could be? If they find that out, they're one step closer to finding the boy. Several. Each more outlandish than the other, but I shall follow up on what I can. I trust you will update me on any news relative to the case? Nezu says. And you on me regarding the All for One case. Shota agrees. All for One may be dead, but his followers surely are not. Of course. I do hope to one day meet this vigilante. He shows quite the intellect. Shota does not like the look in Nezu's eyes. Izuku arrives before Kaminari. It gives him time to look over the notebook and plans Izuku had made. He just wants to make sure it all works out. He hopes Kaminari approves of it. Why is Izuku so nervous for this? Maybe it's because he hasn't been around anyone his age since he was 6? He knows they're not exactly friends, so he doesn't have to worry about really bonding with him since Kaminari accepted Izuku's offer to train him. Maybe he should just focus on training Kaminari instead of befriending him? He seems nice and really cool, so he probably has more than enough friends already. He probably doesn't need Shimura. A shout snaps Izuku out of his spiral. He sees Kaminari in front of him with his hands on Izuku's shoulders. Izuku was sitting down on a bench, but at some point he had started pacing. Eep. No, Kaminari did not completely startle Izuku, and no, Izuku did not scream. Ah, sorry. Didn't mean to startle you. Just I kept calling your name and you didn't respond and you seemed really lost in thought. Kept muttering something about friends. Kaminari quickly takes his hands off Izuku and rubs the back of his neck. Oh. Sorry. Well, I'm glad you're here. If you want we can go over what I have planned so far. Izuku tries to ignore the lingering warmth on his shoulders. He has gotten semi-used to being touched between the occasional hand on shoulder or head. Eraser sometimes does, and with the day he was with Gramp Torino, but it still isn't a whole lot and he isn't quite used to people touching him yet. It's not that he doesn't like it, because he does. He really likes being close to someone, but it just stays on the front of his mind more than he knows it should. We can, but are you good? You just seemed pretty nervous. Kaminari asks. Is he actually concerned for Izuku? Probably not. He will make a good hero, though. Yup. I'm fine. Perfectly fine. Just get lost in thought a lot. No need to worry. Izuku laughs nervously and cracks open the notebook. If you're sure. Kaminari gives Izuku a hesitant look. So I have a few questions regarding quirks. Izuku carries on. Ask away. Kaminari brightens. What is your quirk and what are its limitations? Izuku begins. Oh, it's electrification. I can produce electricity from my body. Right now I can go all the way up to about 1 million volts. Kaminari says. 1 million? That's amazing. Now, can you demonstrate a bit for me? With something along the lines of 1 million volts as a max, Kaminari can do a lot of damage. He'll be able to do a lot of things with his quirk. Sure. Kaminari holds out his hand in front of Izuku and soon enough the hand starts producing electricity looking like little lightning bolts. Hey, that's pretty cool. There are more questions I'll have to ask, but we can save that for a day when we're actually working with your quirk. In the meantime, are you okay with me using my quirk on you? It's a type of telekinesis quirk, but I can use it to do a lot of things. I promise to only use it to help you. Izuku begins. He may be able to just do it even without Kaminari's permission, but he likes getting people's permission first. Like what? Kaminari tilts his head. Do you have any injuries right now? Izuku asks. Probably. I always have a bruise somewhere. Not sure how I get them, though. Kaminari mumbles that last part. It doesn't take long for Kaminari to find a bruise, one on his forearm. May I? Izuku gestures to the bruise. Sure. Kaminari shrugs. This bruise isn't fresh like the one from a few weeks ago. He doesn't have as much to do, but with the discoloration still there, it works for his demonstration. For a deep explanation about how his quirks work regarding bruises, see Tenko's Path to Villainy. In an instant, the greenish-yellowish skin turns back to normal. Whoa, you healed it. Kaminari pokes the once bruised area. I mean, it didn't really hurt before, but it's still cool. Can you do it with other injuries? Yeah. Pretty much anything. Izuku grins. Wait, how does a telekinesis quirk heal injuries? Kaminari asks. I can control the things you can't see with your naked eye. I mean cells and atoms and such, so I just speed up the healing process. Izuku explains. That's really cool. Kaminari practically has stars in his eyes, causing Izuku to laugh. Really? No one has thought my quirk cool before. Lame, weak, useless, scary. He's gotten all those before, but never cool. How? Trust me dude, it's probably the coolest thing I've ever seen. Kaminari grins. So I take it you're okay with me using it on you? Izuku matches Kaminari's grin. You mean being practically instantly healed? Yeah. Kaminari agrees, much to Izuku's relief. Great. That means I don't have to go too easy on you when I teach you how to fight. Izuku grins. What does that mean? Kaminari pauses. How resistant to pain are you? Izuku carries on. Wait, what? Kaminari begins sweating. Guess we'll figure that out. Anyway, here's the schedule I made for us. Izuku hands Kaminari the paper. Monday, stamina training. Tuesday, techniques. Wednesday, quirk training. Thursday, stamina training. Friday, techniques. Saturday, quirk training. Sunday, weaponry. Techniques? Is that the fighting part? Kaminari asks. Yup. And you'll be teaching me how to use a weapon? What weapon? You'll see. You should definitely learn how to fight. Control your quirk, and at least have some sort of weapon knowledge. Honestly, the amount of heroes who rely purely on their quirk is ridiculous. It's why they don't do anything when their quirk isn't suitable for the situation. And instead of using their brain and relying on anything other than their quirk, they wait around until another hero with a more suitable quirk comes along, even if it means the victim becomes seriously injured or even dies while they twiddle their thumbs. And I'm not sending you off to UA without at least teaching you how to use a weapon. It'll someday save yours and a victim's life, since I doubt you'll just stand by and let someone die, considering you didn't have much of a plan when you decided to try and rescue me. Izuku rants. It's honestly no wonder so many people get pushed to villainy. If Izuku lost someone he cares about in an attack that the heroes did nothing to stop, he probably would turn to villainy as well. He can't imagine himself hurting innocent civilians, but he might wind up attacking those heroes who don't save victims. Yeah, I've heard of situations like that, and I can't imagine sitting back while watching someone being attacked. I would at least try to rescue them. So I'm glad you'll teach me not to rely too much on my quirk. Kaminari says. I'm glad you're already thinking like that. You'll go far, Kaminari. Izuku smiles proudly. Well, if you think so, then it must be true. Kaminari seems to put a lot of faith in Izuku. He hopes it's not misplaced. How would you like to go get some food? We've been here for a while, and I'm hungry. I'll pay. Just if you'd like to have some food with me, then we can go to some place for food. Izuku gulps. If Kaminari agrees, then they're officially friends, right? Oh gosh, why is he so nervous? He's way too out of touch with social concepts. Maybe he's reading too much into this. Kaminari might just want Izuku to teach him, not be friends. Shimura, are you asking me out on a date? Huh? Is that what it sounded like? No. I swear. I was hoping to be your friend. I mean, we don't even know each other that well. Don't get me wrong, you are attractive, and cool, and nice, and all that, but I'd at least have to get to know you before asking you out on a date. Izuku says it all in one breath. He knows he's beet red. He's really embarrassed and hopes he didn't scare off his only potential friend because of how poor his social skills are. Then, Kaminari bust out laughing. I'm only teasing, but I'm glad you think so highly of me. It's only then that Izuku notices the teasing note in Kaminari's voice. For the record, I think those things of you too. Really? Izuku looks down quickly with a different type of embarrassment. Duh. You're the coolest person I know. So of course I want to be your friend. Plus, I know the perfect cafe for us to go to. They sell the best drinks. Kaminari tells him. Which is good considering Izuku doesn't really visit anywhere special, meaning he doesn't know where to go for good hangouts. Then lead the way. I'll have to trust your judgment on this. Izuku says, and they begin walking. Oh, yeah. What did you mean by that pain comment? Izuku dutifully doesn't answer. So what's the cafe like? Izuku changes the subject. Shimura? Hey, don't ignore the question. Izuku only enjoys Kaminari's growing nerves. Eraser. Eraser. Izuku dashes through the air, only barely making each platform as he makes his way to his favorite hero. Calm down, kid. What's got you so happy? Eraser asks. I made a friend. For sure. I mean, I was hoping he was my friend before, but it's confirmed now. He thinks I'm cool. He wants to be my friend. And he's super cool. I was starting to think my social skills weren't very good, but since I made friends with someone so awesome, I must have great social skills. Izuku doesn't stop soon enough for the speed he was going, so he crashes into Eraser. The same friend you told me about before? Eraser places his hands on Izuku's shoulders to steady him. Yeah. Izuku nods, looking up at the man. I'm glad you have someone your age to be around. You deserve friends. Eraser gives Izuku a fond smile. He's super fun. We went to this cafe that has some cool drinks with all sorts of flavors. He showed it to me, and we'll probably go there again. Izuku tells him. He even thinks my quirk is cool. Kid, I've seen you do so many different things, whatever your quirk is, it's cool. Eraser assures him. You think so? It's definitely fun, but I also know how scary it can be. Izuku admits to Eraser what he couldn't to Kaminari. Quirks can be a scary thing, especially powerful ones like yours, but it all depends on how you use it. You use it for good. To help heal and save people, so I think the only people it should scare are villains. Eraser says. Maybe he's right. Izuku wants to believe him, but all he's been told his entire life is how terrible his quirk is. Useless and weak before he learned how strong it is. Then scary when the few people who knew about it found out. That's when he stopped attempting to make friends. That is, until Kaminari. I'm grateful that even though you know how strong I am, even without knowing what my quirk is, you're not scared. That's because you've shown great control and restraint. Sure, there's a lot of things you could do, but you don't even harm the villains or criminals. You put them into an almost natural sleep. In a way that actually gets them rest. You're kind, kid. Kinder than most. If you can show that kind of mercy to villains, it would be illogical to fear you. Eraser explains. Thanks, Eraser. Izuku gives a small smile. You're a good kid. Reckless and the cause of my incoming gray hairs, but good. You shouldn't have to go through any of the self-doubting crap. Eraser says. You really are the best, you know. Now come on. We've got a city to protect. Izuku leaps forward, laughing freely. Talking to Eraser always makes him feel better, even when he didn't realize he was feeling poorly. You know, it really isn't your job to do this. You should leave it to the pros. Eraser says once again. May not be my job, but it's a fun hobby. Izuku grins. He glances over at a digital board that says the time and gasps. What's wrong? Eraser is quick to ask. I'm almost missing my favorite radio station. It's called Hands Up Radio, and it's hosted by Present Mike. I'm a huge fan. It's not often that he can host it, so I don't always listen to it, but I always make sure to catch the ones he's on. Izuku explains. I'm familiar with it. Didn't realize you were a fan. Eraser hums with a hint of humor. A huge fan. You're my favorite hero, but Present Mike is tied for second. Izuku says. Tied? Who's his competition then? Izuku knows Eraser is humoring him since the man doesn't care for the popular heroes. While I try not to like spotlight heroes on principle, I do really like him, Hawks and Mirko. Despite my best efforts, I'm a fan. Izuku shakes his head feigning disappointment in himself. I'm sure he'll be thrilled to know that. Eraser says. You think? Not that it matters. I'll probably never get the opportunity to meet him and tell him that. Izuku mumbles. Who knows? Maybe you will. Eraser says. That would be awesome. Izuku sighs wistfully. Lost on his thoughts and disappointment of not being able to meet the hero, Izuku misses the gleam in Eraser's eyes. When Izuku arrives home, he's tempted to go straight to bed. Instead, he decides to do some research. He knows the type of weapon he wants to get Kaminari. Only issue is that no seller will sell exactly what he wants to a 13-year-old. He could go to the black market, but he'd rather not. That means he'll need to find someone smart enough to build it and crazy enough to give it to a 13-year-old. He may be almost 14, but he doubts that'll make a difference. It takes a lot of digging, but anyone with what he's looking for will have some sort of sign. Lucky for him, he comes across a genius his age. From what he's seen, she plans to go into the support course and is extremely talented. He's sure she'll appreciate practice and won't have an issue with his age. It settles. Tomorrow, he'll meet Meihatsum chapter text. Shota fell asleep the moment he landed on the bed. When he wakes up, it's to Hisashi barely awake but cuddling Shota in deep comfort. Morning. Shota mumbles. He's awake, but barely. Morning. Hisashi says back, burying his face deeper into Shota's neck. How did last night go? The kid told me something important. Shota turns to face his husband. Oh? Anything identity revealing? Hisashi asks hopefully. No, but he did say something about you. You're tied for his second favorite hero spot. Shota tells his husband. Ah, really? Hisashi says, clearly touched. It's you, Mirko and Hawks. All evenly matched. Shota smirks as Hisashi gets deeper touched. I thought he didn't like spotlight heroes. Hisashi blinks, trying to hold back tears. He doesn't, but you three are the exceptions. Shota can tell his husband is honored. He listens to your radio every time you're there. Oh, I can't wait to meet the little listener. Hisashi all but squeals. You can meet him if you join me on patrol. Shota suggests. Maybe the problem child can be convinced by two of his favorite heroes. I'll be there. Hisashi sits up excitedly. Hitoshi's gonna be so jealous. I'm glad Hitoshi is so on board with this. He's already calling problem child his brother. Shota props himself up so he's the same level as Hisashi. He never said anything, but I think he wants a sibling. Hisashi leans against Shota. I've been thinking the same thing. I hope this works out. I hope he does get a brother. Shota admits. It's illogical to think like this. Hoping for something he doesn't know for certain he can make come true, but he also knows these things, these wants are worth risking disappointment. It's how he got Hisashi. It's how they got Hitoshi. By hoping and taking the risk. Me too. Hisashi grabs Shota's hand and kisses his cheek. As Shota brushes the blonde hair back behind his husband's ear, Shota asks himself how he got so luck. He's turning into such a sap. Izuku waits for Kaminari at the park, the agreed-upon meeting spot. He gets a little excited for these meetups, and winds up arriving early to where he then has to just wait in boredom until Kaminari arrives. Meaning he has to be alone with his thoughts. Which is something he tries to avoid. So he should probably just himself. Well, All Might can go ahead and make a large donation to a charity dedicated to stopping domestic abuse. Sometime near the end of his completion, Kaminari shows up behind him. What's that? All Might's generous donation to the All Might Foundation. Izuku mutters. What? Nothing. Izuku finishes his task then turns to Kaminari. Why are you still in your uniform? You said you'll be waiting for me at the park and to come once I get out of school. Kaminari blinks. Yeah, but you need to get changed into some workout clothes. Do you have some of your own, or just school ones? Izuku asks. Just my school ones. I don't actually work out. Kaminari admits. To be fair, neither does Izuku. At least not counting his vigilante doings. Then I'm getting you some. Izuku grabs Kaminari's hand and drags him towards a store across the street. One he knows sells good workout clothes. You're not seriously buying me clothes, are you? Kaminari stumbles behind Izuku before regaining his composure. Why not? Izuku shrugs. Why, dude, you don't have to do that. Kaminari insists. I want to. My sheet stain of a father has lots of money and I enjoy spending it on things I know he'd hate. Considering he'd probably be disgusted at the idea of me having a friend, I want to spend his money having fun with my friend, you. If he discovers I'm the one spending his money, then I'll just sick Gramps on him. That should buy him enough time to run far enough away. Are you okay? Kaminari stops for a second. I don't live with him anymore. Izuku waves off Kaminari's concern. If you need to, you can always crash at my place. Even if you just want to. Kaminari doesn't look like he really believes him. I really am okay. Sure, I wasn't for a bit, but things are good now. I do have to just, not get caught, but I haven't been caught in the last 7 years. Granted, being declared dead probably had more to do with that than my own skill. Although I could probably get away on my own. I do have theories on how to make someone more susceptible to doing what I say, but that requires me messing with the brain, which isn't something I really need to risk doing. It gets so tricky and dangerous when dealing with the brain. Izuku isn't sure when he devolved into muttering. You kinda mumbled a lot there, so I'm not exactly sure everything you said, but I think I heard something about not getting caught? Kaminari says. Don't worry about it. Everything's under control. Izuku assures. Now come on. You need training. And I'm not going to go easy on you, so you better have the right stuff for it. They don't shop for long. Izuku asks Kaminari sizes in everything and quickly buys the best of everything he may need. He lets Kaminari pick out the design and whatnot, but Izuku tells him what's the good kind and what's not. He also buys it in bulk. I feel like a spoiled rich kid. Kaminari scratches his cheek with a light chuckle, now clothed in Izuku-approved workout clothes. Then I've done my job. Izuku grins. He loves spending a-hole's money. Especially now that he has a friend to spend it on. Not complaining, but is this legal? Kaminari asks hesitantly. Considering he's not in prison for child abandonment, he should be at least partially responsible for me. I just decided it would be financially. He's got plenty of money to spare, and there isn't even an investigation on for what's going on with his missing money. That being said, Izuku doesn't know how that plays out with him being legally dead. He really doesn't want to think about it. Who is your father? Kaminari asks in a tone Izuku has never heard before. What does that matter? Izuku questions. I just want to talk with him. Izuku highly doubts that. Not with that tone. Come on, give me your bags. School and shopping. Izuku sticks out his hand opting to skip this particular subject. So that's a no? Kaminari slumps and hands his bags over to Izuku. We're supposed to be training. Izuku takes the bags and carries them. Then he takes off running. Follow me. Even with the extra added weight, Izuku is much faster than Kaminari. He still has to take it easy so as not to leave Kaminari behind. Where are we going? Kaminari asks. To the beach. Izuku answers simply. The beach isn't far. It's only a 15-minute run. Well, run for Kaminari, more of a jog for Izuku. The sight is bittersweet. People typically stay clear of this beach since it's been turned into a junkyard, which made it perfect for hiding out at. He had to stop coming here when there were repeated reports of a green-haired thief fleeing towards the beach. He moves past the junk, his body still remembering the clear path, and guides Kaminari to a small clear part of the beach. Izuku had cleaned up a small portion of it to give himself somewhere to relax and enjoy a pretty scenery. Sometimes he'd just sit in the sand and enjoy his freshly stolen food. When you said the beach, I didn't realize you meant this one. Kaminari pants once they stop at the clearing. This is the one closest by. Izuku walks over to a small shelter of sorts. It's 3 metal slabs put together with a beaten maroon curtain hanging from it. It's just how he left it. He took what he could carry, but had to leave behind a few posters he found among the trash. He gets why someone would throw away All Might stuff, but present Mike? Gang Orca? Inexcusable. That being said, if they hadn't thrown it away, Izuku wouldn't have been able to decorate his little home. The only thing different is that the posters he glued on there had fallen down from time. What's this? Kaminari is now beside Izuku, sounding like he caught most of his breath. Nothing. Now, we will be working on your stamina and building some muscle. Izuku turns to Kaminari before guiding him to the middle of the clearing and about 30 feet from the ocean before facing the ocean and drawing a line in the sand with his foot. Start here and run until you get knee-deep in the ocean, then come back. Oh, sounds simple enough. Kaminari nods. Do this 10 times. Izuku then smirks. When you reach his line, do 10 burpees. He then walks to the halfway point. When here, 10 push-ups, and when you reach knee-deep in the ocean, 10 squats. The look on Kaminari's face is worth it. Izuku only had to tell Kaminari to keep up the pace 3 times. The moment the boy finished his last burpee, he collapses onto the sand. You've earned yourself a break. Izuku pulls out a still-cold bottle of water from one of the shopping bags. I think I'm dead. Kaminari groans. You look good for a dead person. Izuku muses and pats the air next to him. He's using his quirk to sit down on the now solid once-air molecules. The bags are next to him and the water bottle is set next to Izuku. After a moment, Kaminari gets up and sits beside Izuku. I don't think I'll ever get used to your quirk. Kaminari shakes his head and slowly opens the bottle. I feel like creating a place to sit isn't the weirdest thing. Izuku says. There are much weirder things in the age of quirks. It's less of this on its own, and more so knowing all the different things you can do. I mean, you can do anything. Kaminari explains. Not anything. I do have limitations. I may be able to control things, but I'm still bound to the rules of science. Izuku counters. Yes, it's a strong quirk, but he's still vaguely fighting gravity when he makes platforms, although telekinesis quirks do naturally have anti-gravity aspects. Not completely, each one has a limitation, and Izuku's is enhanced due to the stockpiling factor. Still, it's not like he can defy the first law of thermodynamics. Or any other law. Science-wise, not legal-wise. He can and has defied legal laws. It's kinda fun. It kinda feels like you turn science into putty and just play around with it. Kaminari takes a big gulp of his water. The same rules apply. Izuku shrugs. Now, back to work. What next? Kaminari groans. Clean up. Before, this little clearing was covered in junk. I cleaned it up, and developed a good amount of muscle from it. Now, I want you to do the same. Izuku tells him. I was wrong. You are trying to kill me. Huh? Cheer up. Once you're done I'll get you plenty of food to make up for it. Tenko has developed a rather unhealthy, well, he wouldn't say obsession since he doesn't do it often, but he knows he should probably stop looking at it. The it in reference would be his file. He just likes to make sure it hasn't changed from the clear deceased in it. He doesn't have anyone left he cares about in the world, so he'd rather not have his status changed to missing. Much easier hiding in the shadows even if he does have to wait for Mr. Potato Head's plans to come together. He knows the importance of waiting for the right moment even if he does want to just hurry up and kill his uncle. He doesn't check it often, mostly because when he searches himself, he also has to look at the rest of his family, and the guilt of his sister's death weighs on him. The thing is, there's another. Shimura this time. One he's never seen on here before. Name, Izuku Shimura. Age, 13. Birthday, July 15th. Quirk, atomic. Status, alive. There's not a picture attached to it, but it can't be a coincidence, right? Izuku, his Izuku, would be 13 right now. His birthday was July. His quirk. Well, he knows it was a weak telekinesis quirk, but he doesn't know what name it was registered as. With a bit more digging, he finds the address. He slips out of his room, trying not to get his hopes up. It could be just a coincidence. It may not be his Izuku. Still, he needs to see for himself. I'm going out. Tenko doesn't bother looking at Kurogiri. I shall accompany you. He hears a clink, so Tenko knows he was cleaning the cups in their bar. He knows he's with villains and everything, but was a bar really the best place to raise a kid? I'm just going for a walk. I don't want anyone following me around. It's annoying. Tenko scratches at his neck. He hates it when he wants to be alone, but someone is always right behind him. I must insist. A young boy should not be alone in this neighborhood. They do live in a pretty dangerous neighborhood, but they all know to stay away. If they touch Tenko, then All for One won't hesitate to kill them. As annoying as the potato is, he does have some use. If anything happens, I'll send you my location. I'm going out for a walk. Alone. Tenko speed walks out the door before Kurogiri can stop him. He's not worried about being followed. Unless Tenko is doing something that'll result in his death, Kurogiri is supposed to obey him. If he says he wants to be left alone, then that's what happens. Tenko takes a train to the city this Izuku is located in, but finds the address relatively quick. It's a shitty neighborhood, only slightly better than Tenko's own neighborhood. He finds the right apartment and pauses for a moment. What if it's not Izuku? What if it is a coincidence? What if it isn't? With a deep breath, Tenko knocks on his maybe cousin's door. A moment later, it opens up. Tenko is met face to face with green hair, green eyes, and a freckled face. It's older than he remembers, but undeniably the same. This is without a doubt his Izuku. His cousin. Can I help you? Izuku asks. He doesn't recognize Tenko. Of course not. Tenko looks so different from when they last saw each other. Wrong door. Tenko stumbles out the words before bolting away. He panicked. Okay, so, Izuku is still alive. Probably living alone. What if he's lonely? He doesn't want him to be lonely. Tenko's tempted to persuade his cousin into villainy with him, but that presents two issues. One of them being last Tenko knows, Izuku is far too kind to ever become a villain. The main issue would be All for One. Izuku probably did inherit the quirk All for One is after, and that means All for One will kill Izuku over it. Well, now Tenko has two reasons to stick with All for One. To kill his stupid uncle, and to make sure All for One never finds out about Izuku. Although, with this new piece of information, it feels like part of his very soul has been mended. Denki is finding out a little more about his friend Shimura. He knows he's not the smartest, but even he can put the pieces together. He may not know who Shimura's father is, but he knows the man abandoned Shimura. He thinks, for a time at least, Shimura was living on his own. Denki got a glimpse of what his friend was looking at in the junkyard, and the pile of junk looked vaguely lived in. Like someone was staying there as a makeshift home for a portion of time. Maybe he's wrong. Maybe Shimura's father did leave, but the boy wasn't abandoned completely. Maybe he lives with his mother. A mother who is kind and caring and loves Shimura. He doubts that theory. Especially since Shimura gives criminalish vibes sometimes. He fully supports, what he's pretty sure, Shimura hacking his father's bank accounts to fund whatever Shimura needs or wants. It also possibly explains how he's so good at fighting. If Denki got dropped off somewhere at a younger age, he doesn't think he could survive. Even if he could, he would definitely have to get pretty good at fighting. He really hopes Shimura is just weird and picked up all his habits from hobbies or something, not necessity. He's just worried about his only friend. He's the only person who doesn't make Denki feel like a complete idiot. Mostly. Sometimes when Shimura goes off on his tangents and Denki can't even begin to keep up, he starts feeling pretty stupid. Then again, he's pretty sure Shimura is just ridiculously smart. He doesn't think even the top student in his grade could fully comprehend Shimura's rambles. Whatever the situation is, it seems like he's at least in a better place now. He wishes there was something he could do, but Shimura doesn't seem to think he needs any help. All Denki can really do is offer support and a listening ear if need be. Not that Shimura flat out tells Denki anything. Everything he does know has been comments Shimura made without even realizing what he was saying. Something Denki doesn't think the guy even realizes he says, or how awful it makes Denki feel every time he gets even a glimpse of his friend's past. He just hopes Shimura is okay. Izuku is going to be a bit late to his nightly activities. If he wants Kaminari's weapons done as soon as possible and to test it out himself, then he should meet with her as soon as possible. The sun is setting when he finds her house. The less people who see him, the better. That's why he doesn't knock on the door. Instead he finds her room and knocks on the window. Okay, it's not as creepy as it sounds. I don't think you should be here. Hatsum opens her window, but she's holding something in her hand. I want you to make something for me, Izuku says, not entering her room, but crouched on her window sill. You want one of my babies? Her guard drops and she brightens. Your babies? I'm not Rumpelstiltskin. Izuku has no idea how she got there. Come inside, take a look. Hatsum moves away so Izuku can enter. It's concerning how trusting she is. She leads him to a wall lined with inventions. Which of my babies are you interested in? Oh, babies are her inventions. Well, that makes more sense. I was hoping to put in a custom order. Although they do look really interesting. What did you have in mind? She gives Izuku her full attention. A weapon of sorts. Izuku hands her a piece of paper with the idea in it. I've got money. I can definitely do it. Hatsum looks a bit disappointed. I'm only asking that it's simple for now. Later, you can add all the modifications you want. Izuku promises. He needs the weapon to be good, but still relatively simple so Kaminari can learn it. I can test out your other babies and give you feedback? What are you wearing? Shota can't say he's surprised. Anything this kid does is some type of crazy, but why? Why is he decked out in so many different gadgets? Test runs. Is all the kid says. I didn't realize you wanted support items. Shota doesn't know anyone who needs nor wants that many support items. They look heavy. I don't, but I have a friend who likes to make things. These are all the things that passed her tests, but she still needs someone to test it out in battle. I offered. Plus they're really light. When she handed me them, I thought for sure they were gonna drag me down, but I can barely feel them. Sounds like a different friend than the one who wants to be a hero. Oh, yeah, I made another friend. Really, I just had one conversation with her, but she was really happy when I offered to test her stuff out. She seems cool. At least he sounds happy. The more friends he makes, the more likely he is to stop being a vigilante and possibly even get help. Alright, how much fighting experience do you have? Izuku asks Kaminari. They met at the park, and are off to the side where there's a good space of just grass and no people. I got into a fight when I was 8? Kaminari offers. Oh. Well, you know how it feels to be punched. That's something. Izuku says. Sorry, I don't have much experience. Kaminari chuckles nervously. No, it's good. I mean, it means that you didn't have a reason to fight. That's a good thing. I'm just not entirely sure where to start. I guess dodging is a good place. Truthfully, Izuku put more thought about quirk and weapon training than he did when it came to fist fighting. How did you learn? Saying beaten until learning to fend for myself seems a bit too harsh. Think, throwing a baby into the ocean for it to swim. That sounded worse, didn't it? Probably, since Kaminari immediately blanched. Don't worry, I'm not doing that to you. So, dodging, yeah? Sure. Kaminari gives a small nod, not completely recovered from Izuku's comment. The trick to dodging isn't just seeing a punch coming and moving. You have to see it before it goes into motion. You have to read your opponent's movements. Izuku begins. You have to read their body. See the twitch in their muscles, see how they're adjusting their weight, see the position of their feet. If you see it, you can dodge it. Read their body? I'm not sure I follow. Kaminari tilts his head in the adorable way he does whenever he gets confused. Here, I'll give you 10 minutes to try and hit me. Don't use your quirk, just your body. I won't use my quirk either, but don't hold back. Izuku warns. What, like punch you? Are you sure? I know I'm not the strongest, but I could still hurt you. Kaminari trails off. It's pretty sweet. Almost makes Izuku feel guilty for the brutal training he's about to put Kaminari through, but the repercussions of any mistake Kaminari could possibly make quickly removes any doubt. He's going to make Kaminari strong. The punches come out weak and hesitant at first. Kaminari only gets serious when it becomes clear Izuku won't be getting hit that easily. Even with the improvement, Denki doesn't come anywhere near landing a hit on Izuku. Time's up. Izuku lightly karate chops the top of Kaminari's head. I didn't even come close. Kaminari whines. Nope. To be fair, I've been doing this since I was 6, so that would have been embarrassing for me if you did. Izuku assures. Kaminari doesn't look reassured by that. Odd. One of the things I want you to note is how exhausted you are compared to how little of my stamina was drained. Attacking requires much more energy than simply dodging. If you're facing an offense-heavy fighter, it may be best to dodge until they run out of stamina. You're going to be attacking me now, aren't you? Kaminari winces. I'll go easy on you. Izuku pats his back. Izuku does go easy on Kaminari, he just also isn't afraid to follow through with the punches or kicks. He feels a little guilty every time a blow lands, but he also knows that villains will do far worse to Kaminari. It's almost fun, fighting like this instead of just relying on his quirk. He can't wait for Kaminari to become a challenge for Izuku. You know, it's kind of scary when you grin like that while beating me up. Kaminari pants, barely dodging one of Izuku's slow punches. He tries to make his movements slow and exaggerated to an extent. Nothing too easy, but not too hard that Kaminari can't even see it coming. That'll come later. I'm just excited. Izuku laughs, aiming a kick. Kaminari hasn't been able to dodge a kick so far. Have we met somewhere before, oof? Kaminari asks, still unable to dodge Izuku's kick. Not that I'm aware of. Did you ever attend Aldera? The only place they could have known each other was Aldera Elementary. No, but your laugh sounds really familiar. I swear I've heard it before. Kaminari is very clearly distracted. What kind of teacher would Izuku be if he didn't teach his student why that's a bad thing? You really should pay more attention to the person attacking you. Izuku says, slightly amused after landing a punch on Kaminari. Are you really going easy on me? Kaminari nurses his cheek. Do you want me to stop? Izuku perks up. No. Kaminari says quickly. Mei finished Izuku's request very quickly. It's already field ready, so Izuku decides to take it out on patrol. Fairly early on, Izuku spots Eraser. Only the man isn't alone. Right beside his favorite hero is another in his top 5. You're Present Mike. Izuku says dumbly because everyone knows that. Present Mike knows who he is. Eraser knows who he's talking to. Oh, you must be the listener show was talking about. Present Mike grins. It's not the grin that he shows for the public. This one feels more genuine. Yeah, he's the problem child. Despite the words, Eraser sounds almost fond. It's just enough to keep Izuku from spiraling into concerning thoughts. Being called a problem is something he's all too familiar with. Although the fondness that goes with it is something he's only ever heard from Auntie Mitsuki and Uncle Masaru. It's a bit jarring for Izuku. Kid, this is Hisashi Yamada, my husband. Your husband? You're married? You never told me that. You especially never said anything about being married to Present Mike. He can't believe his top 2 heroes are married. We try to keep our private life private. We'd rather not have every aspect of our life covered by the media, you dig? Present Mike says. Izuku nods. He does get it. He knows how hard it can be to hide from the media. Especially being a spotlight hero who graduated from UA. It's far too easy to make the connections. The only reason Izuku was able to stay out of the media is because Yagi spent most of his time in America, and the year he did spend at UA was the year they used hero names to introduce the hero course students, plus anything to do with All Might was treated highly classified. That's not saying other heroes aren't classified, but not to the degree Yagi's is, kept making it easier for the media to catch wind of anything regarding the hero they're reporting on. Thank you for trusting me with this information. Izuku doesn't know why they trust him, but he'll definitely keep it a secret. Well, Present Mike glances at Eraser before continuing, if you decide to let us foster you, you'll be finding this information out anyway. Oh. This was planned. That's sneaky. It's not working, despite how tempting, but Izuku admires it. Eraser is using Izuku's top favorite heroes against him, but Izuku is all too aware of the consequences. Even if there was something they could do, they wouldn't. Not when they find out who Izuku's father is. Eraser may not care for All Might, but he does respect him as a fellow hero. Izuku doubts either pro-heroes would do something about it. That being said, he doesn't think they would force Izuku to return to Yagi either. I respect the tactic, but not happening. Izuku shakes his head. Kid, we just want to help. We won't let anything bad happen. Eraser says once again. I'd rather patrol. Izuku makes his air platforms and begins patrolling. A beat later, he has 2 heroes at his side. I see you finally have a weapon. Eraser says. Eraser never pushes Izuku, it's something he's grateful for. Just for today. It's been a while since I've even touched a weapon, so I need to make sure I still remember how to use it before I teach my friend how to use one. I want to make sure he knows how to and will use a weapon when he becomes a hero. Izuku is not sending Kaminari off half-butted. If you're going this far for a friend, then why aren't you using one? Eraser lightly chides. That's illegal. Izuku deadpans. And the law is something you always obey. Present Mike says unimpressed. Glad you understand. Izuku jokes. Seriously though, I don't really need a weapon. I don't want to carry one around every night, and if I ever do need a weapon, I can use my surroundings. I'm really good at that. Arrogance is a dangerous thing to bring onto the job. Eraser warns. It's not arrogance. It's a fact. I was in a lot of situations that I had to fight my way out of. Most of which I did not have a weapon on hand. I either fought my way out using my bare hands or my surroundings. Izuku shrugs. He's not arrogant, he just knows his skills. That was before I learned how to use my quirk. Isn't it better safe than sorry? Present Mike prods. Yeah, but where's the fun in that? Izuku laughs. The sound of glass breaking catches Izuku's attention. Looks like two people are trying to rob a jewelry store. It's just what Izuku needs. He can test out the weapon without having to worry about any victim he should heal. I got this one. Izuku laughs as he jumps down, landing just behind the two thugs. He's surprised that Eraser listened to him. That neither Eraser nor Present Mike interfered, but he is thankful. He brings out the weapon, a metal staff that can be separated into two. They're pretty useful, but Izuku is mostly used to handling a pipe instead of something this fancy. He thinks it'll be perfect for Kaminari once he gets the hang of it. Especially since it'll work really well with Kaminari's quirk. Kaminari invited Izuku over for his birthday. His parents are throwing a little party for him and Kaminari decided to bring Izuku to it. At first, Izuku wasn't sure what to get Kaminari. He knew Kaminari liked heroes, probably a big All Might fan, but Izuku doesn't really want to buy anything All Might related. Instead, Izuku thought about it a bit more and decided on something. When he met Present Mike the other night, he asked for his and Eraser's autograph. He wasn't expecting to receive Eraser since he knows the hero isn't a fan of being recognized, but Izuku did receive it. He immediately framed them and hung them on the wall. While he doubts Kaminari will know who Eraser is, Izuku thinks Kaminari might enjoy learning about another hero. That's why he prints off a copy of both heroes' autographs and frames them. He keeps the copies for himself then places the originals in a gift bag for Kaminari. It's been so long since going to a social interaction that Izuku has to spend the whole walk hyping himself up. When he reaches the door, it's far too soon. Don't get him wrong, Izuku wants to be there. He wants to be a good friend, he's just nervous. That's why he knocks before he can stop himself. Before he can chicken out. Shimura. You made it. Kaminari flings open the door with his typical bright smile. Somehow, Izuku feels all his previous nerves melt away. Kaminari grabs Izuku's wrist and drags him inside. Happy birthday, Kaminari. Izuku matches Kaminari's smile as he holds out the gift sack. Whoa, thanks. You didn't have to get me anything. Kaminari laughs, but accepts it, still dragging Izuku into the house until he reaches the living room where Kaminari's family is. Guys, this is Shimura. Shimura, meet my family. Kaminari gestures to the three other people in the room. Hi. Izuku waves nervously. Izuku has only known Kaminari for a week, so of course he knows that he doesn't know his friend all that well. Still, it does greatly surprise him to find out Kaminari is half Japanese half American. He lived in the States for a few years. His father's job required them to move back and forth between the States and Japan a lot. He's retired now, so they're staying in Japan permanently now, though his older sister remained in the States as a hero. They all seem super close, a truly loving family. Kaminari and his sister bicker like Izuku and Kaken used to. He remembers them very fondly, though his memories are faint since the last time they saw them he was 6. He misses them so much, but he doubts they even remember him. He wants to see them, but he doesn't want to know whether they've truly forgotten him. He mostly stuck by Kaminari's side throughout it all. Though he did wind up talking very excitedly to Kaminari's mom for a while after learning she's a neurosurgeon. He definitely asked her way too many questions about the brain, but she happily answered every question he's been holding on to since he first learned about brain anatomy and the functions. Kaminari just laughed and called him a nerd. After cake, Kaminari excitedly opened his presents. Izuku nervously watched, terrified Kaminari wouldn't like his gift. Dude! This is Present Mike's autograph. How did you get it? Kaminari looks at the signature with stars in his eyes. I met him the other night and asked for his autograph. Izuku gives a nervous chuckle. Awesome. And this is Eraserhead? I don't think I've heard of him. Kaminari admits. Not surprising. He's an underground hero who stays away from the spotlight. I met him the same night as Present Mike and also got his autograph. He's not known, but he's super cool. He's my favorite hero. Izuku grins. He must be cool if you like him this much. Are there any videos of him? Kaminari asks, admiring both autographs. A few. Do you want to see them? And that's how Izuku introduces Kaminari to the best hero out there. Bearing the end of the party, Kaminari's sister gives him one more gift. Unfortunately, it's an All Might poster. Nothing inappropriate, but it is one of Yagi's more tight outfits. The worst part is the teasing comment she makes. Figured you might want this since All Might was your gay awakening. Izuku didn't hear that right. He couldn't have. It's not possible. There is no way Izuku's terrible father was his best friend's gay awakening. Not even in Izuku's most terrifying nightmares. He also can't help the repulsed expression on his face. Not an All Might fan? Kaminari's sister raises a brow, catching Izuku's face. He's a good hero. That was physically painful to say. Just because he acknowledges that, doesn't mean he wants to say it. Ever. So no. The sister says. Really? I definitely thought you would be. I mean, isn't that who you modeled your laugh after? Kaminari tilts his head. What? Yeah, you laugh just like him. I mean, it's a bit different. Yours sounds more mischievous in a way, but also more genuine somehow. I don't think All Might sounds fake, but you just sound so lighthearted and genuine when you laugh. And the nightmare just got worse. I think I'm gonna be sick. Izuku mumbles. It's a compliment. I mean, All Might's laugh brings hope and yours is just as infectious. It's a good thing. Kaminari says quickly. Denki, stop. You're just making it worse. Kaminari's mom places a hand on her son's shoulder. Sorry. Kaminari bites his lip. Whatever beef you've got with All Might, don't let it change your laugh. Even if it is similar, I like yours a lot better. It always makes me laugh. Except for when you're talking about training me. That's terrifying. At least the nightmare has some sort of comfort. The morning of July 15th, Izuku gets a text from his gramps. When are you going to visit me again? You better come over for lunch today. And bring that friend of yours. I want to meet him. Izuku reads the message and rolls his eyes. I just came over 3 days ago, but yeah. I'll be there for lunch and I'll bring Kaminari. Izuku won't say no to seeing his gramps again. He texts Kaminari to see if he wants to train earlier today so that they can go over to his gramps for lunch. Thankfully, Kaminari agrees, seemingly excited to meet Izuku's family. Izuku doesn't know why Kaminari is excited, but at least he agreed. Denki was looking forward to meeting Shimura's gramps. He hoped that this is who Shimura lives with since he is running out of ideas for who his best friend could live with. His hopes are quickly shattered when they get on a fairly long train ride. He sincerely doubts Shimura lives this far away. When they reach the house, Shimura doesn't knock. He just opens the door. The lights are off, making Denki think the grandpa isn't home. Then his eyes land on an old man collapsed in the middle of the room with blood and intestines surrounding him. Oh my gosh. He's dead. Denki helpfully screams. Yup. Totally dead. Better bury him. Shimura casually approaches the body. Backyard will do. Course we could always dump it in the ocean. Learn to respect your elders. The dead body pops up, not dead anymore. He's alive. Denki jolts back, super helpfully. Sorry about that. I just tripped over while carrying sausages covered in ketchup. The man's tune changes a bit. You were? Denki twitches his eyebrows. He does it all the time. Anyway, Gramps, this is Kaminari. Kaminari, this is my Gramp Torino. Shimura introduces. Who are you? Gramp Torino's expression grows into that of a clueless old man. Were you not listening? I'm Denki Kaminari. Denki introduces himself. Izuku? He's still looking at Kaminari like he thinks he's Shimura. Don't worry about it. He's just messing with you. Shimura laughs. Way to ruin an old man's fun. Gramp Torino shakes his head. He then walks over to a light and turns it on, revealing birthday decorations. Happy birthday, Izuku. Dude, it's your birthday? Why didn't you tell me? Denki grabs Shimura's shoulder. It's his friend's birthday and Denki doesn't even have a gift. Happy birthday. Shimura blinks a few times then goes, It's my birthday? Cool, I knew it was somewhere around here. You forgot when your own birthday is? Gramp Torino scowls. It stopped mattering to me. I stopped thinking about it completely, so I kinda forgot the date. I knew it was sometime in July, but I couldn't remember it. I mean, I stopped celebrating it after I turned 7. Shimura shrugs like it's no big deal. Well, you're back to celebrating it. Gramp Torino huffs. Well, I am finally 14? Shimura tries, clearly unsure of his own age. You don't know how old you are? Denki's jaw drops. I knew around the right age. Shimura blushes. I guess I could have looked it up, but I just stopped caring. Unacceptable. Denki TSKS. Looks like we just have to make up for all your missed birthdays. I like this kid. The man gives Denki an approving nod. That's not really necessary. Shimura scratches his cheek. You're getting it anyway. Gramp Torino shuts down any possibility of argument. Even if it is just Denki and Shimura's Gramps celebrating his birthday, Shimura looks genuinely happy. Denki just wishes he had a gift to give his friend. It's nearing sunset when they're on the train back to their city. About halfway through, Shimura sighs and asks Denki if he wants to come with him to visit his mom. He wants to see her, but he doesn't want to do it alone. Kaminari agrees easily. Yet again, Denki finds himself hoping to be led to Shimura's home. He hopes that he's about to enter a nice home with a loving mother. That all the signs he has seen that Shimura has been completely alone for so many years has been wrong. That Denki misheard or misunderstood it all. That maybe the mom just works a lot, but does love her son. Even if Denki thinks that might still be a form of neglect, there's still love involved, which is more than what Denki thinks his friend has now, other than his gramps. Yet again, Denki's hopes are shattered. He's not as surprised as he wishes he was when he's lead to a cemetery. Then to a plot where a grave is with the name Inko Midoriya. That's not really what draws Denki's attention though. No, it's the one next to it that reads Izuku Midoriya that really has Denki looking. Both graves had been recently visited. Flowers adorning both and food placed in front of it. Shimura isn't your real name, is it? Denki glances at Shimura, or is it Midoriya? No. He says after a long pause. Shimura gulps, holding back his emotions as he looks at the grave. Wow, Gramps said Yagi told everyone I was dead, but I guess it just didn't sink in. They had funeral for me. People, I'm dead. It's a lot for Denki to take in, so he can't even imagine what Shimura is feeling. Denki takes a closer look at the stones and their dates. Shimura never got to know his mom. Her death date is the same one as Shimura's birth date. Hey, Mom. I'm sorry it's been so long since I visited you. Although Auntie probably filled you in on the details. You've probably been worried about me, and I was alone for a long time, but I wasn't at first. I met someone who took relative good care of me at first. I think you would have liked him. Although maybe you already have met him. I like to think so at least. Although recently I met a new friend. He's with me now, this is Denki Kaminari. Shimura sits down in front of his mother's grave. A lot of the time, it feels like the more his friend talks, the more confused Denki gets. Shimura talks to his mom for a few hours with Denki chiming in a few times to tell her how cool her son is. Then Shimura shows Denki his cousins. Apparently they're what made Shimura pick his new last name. Shimura's uncle was a lot like his father, an abusive piece of shit, but Shimura was really close with his cousins, Hana and Tenko. He was closer with Tenko than he was with Hana, but it's clear he loved them both. They don't spend too long with his cousins before Shimura walks back to his grave. Man, that's a weird thing to say. He isn't sure what he expects, maybe a few words, maybe nothing, but what does happen is not what he thought would happen. Is it grave robbing if it's your own grave? Shimura eyes the bowl of food on his grave. I don't think so. But I also think grave robbing is, like, digging up the body and taking something from the casket. Denki offers. Shimura's gaze doesn't move from the bowl. I mean, it's meant for you in the first place, right? Denki can tell how tempted Shimura is to take the food. Who am I kidding? I could never pass up Auntie's katsudon. Shimura takes the bowl and walks quickly out of the cemetery, Denki following behind. I didn't know you had an aunt. If Shimura has an aunt, why does she still think he's dead? Not by blood. She was my mom's best friend. Oh, and since you already know Shimura isn't my real name, you can call me Izuku if you want. Sure, Izuku offers. Only if you call me Denki. I mean I did spend years in the States where they use first names more than family names. Denki will cling to that excuse. It's a deal, Denki. Denki really likes when Izuku calls him by his name. Summer break was not what Denki expected it to be like. He's still left grappling with it all by the time school started back up. That's probably why he's not bothered when the science teacher tells everyone to get into pairs for a project. Denki isn't good at science. He's not good in most classes, actually. That's something everyone knows, which is why he's always avoided like the plague. It usually bothers him more than he wishes it did, but he's just too preoccupied by Izuku's past and everything he has learned so far about his friend. He hasn't moved from his spot yet. He learned not to even bother and just wait for whoever didn't manage to partner up. Oddly enough, there is one more person being avoided as much as Denki is. He really hasn't been paying attention to his classmates, so he doesn't know why this guy is also being avoided, but Denki doesn't mind, so he approaches him first. This is the first time they've been able to choose their partner, and Denki hasn't been assigned as his partner so far, so Denki never actually has spoken to this guy. Looks like we're partners. Denki greets brightly. Guess you're the one stuck with the villain. Denki does not know his name. He really should have by now. Villain. Denki tilts his head. My quirk. He says it like it's an explanation, but Denki doesn't even know what his quirk is. Brainwashing. I brainwash people. He says bluntly. That actually sounds pretty cool. I mean I don't think a quirk is villainous, it's more so how you use it. Quirks are just tools, it depends on how you use it. I have a friend who could probably list off 1,000 ways your quirk could be used heroically. Plus, people always say my quirk is perfect for heroics, but if I get in a crowded pool I could just kill everyone there pretty easily, and I feel like that's pretty villainous. He has definitely been hanging out with Izuku too much. I like you. His lips quirk into a smile. It looks like the guy doesn't actually have any issues with viewing his own quirk, but he is used to people having negative reactions to his quirk. Well, I like you too. Never mind the fact that Denki likes pretty much everyone. I'm Denki Kaminari, by the way. Hitoshi Shinso. Maybe Shinso will be Denki's second friend. Tenko knows he is a villain. He has no issues being the villain. That's not true. He has one issue. That issue being his cousin. He knows Izuku is being a vigilante, not that he stalks his cousin or anything. That would be weird and probably unhealthy and maybe creepy. So he definitely doesn't do that, but he accidentally sees Izuku a lot. And they just so happen to always be going in the same direction, and it's not Tenko's fault if Izuku can't find him. The point is, Tenko knows Izuku is a vigilante and that Izuku will one day be a hero. Considering the fact that Tenko would rather swallow a pack of razors than harm his cousin, this is a slight issue regarding their difference in life choices. Tenko won't hurt Izuku, that's a given, but Izuku won't have an issue stopping Tenko and that will be an issue. He needs a way for Izuku's quirk to not affect him. As it stands, Tenko won't stand a chance against his cousin. He needs a way to even the odds, at least enough to escape his cousin being a good hero. Although he needs to be the only one who can. He can't have some nobody able to fight against Izuku. He also can't let Uncle Potato know about it. Tenko just has to figure out how. Izuku knew something was up with Denki the moment he saw him at the beach. He had his nose in his phone and when he started training he kept looking over at Izuku then looking away when Izuku tried to meet his gaze. When Izuku tried to ask Denki about it, he's only brushed off. Then when they're taking a break, Denki goes straight back into his phone. A moment later he looks between his phone and Izuku over and over again. What? Izuku asks, taking a drink of his water. When were you going to tell me you're the new vigilante? Denki blurts out. Izuku promptly starts choking and dying from his water that he also squeezes hard enough to squirt all over his face, going up his nose. Dying by drowning from a bottle of water. What a nightmare. What? Izuku croaks out after a long moment of coughing out the water. The magician. A new vigilante that they really don't know much about other than he is young. Probably a kid around our age and they have no clue what his quirk is. That being said, they have seen him walk on air, instantly heal people, and cause people to fall asleep within seconds. I don't know anyone who can do all of that except for you. Denki looks at Izuku fiercely. Geez. I really need to do better about this secret identity thing, huh? Izuku groans. He can't believe he was found out so quickly. So I was right? Denki exclaims, wide-eyed. Wait, does that mean you weren't going to tell me? I didn't plan on it. I mean, I never wanted you to be in the position to have to choose whether or not to rat me out. I still don't. I'm not going to ask you not to go to the police about this since you could get in trouble for keeping my secret. Izuku doesn't think Denki will tell the police, but he doesn't want to ask him not to tell either. It could potentially ruin his future. Dude, there's no way I'd ever rat you out. You're my best friend. It's not even a choice. I just wish you had told me since I know how dangerous it can be, plus, you somehow got even cooler. Denki assures, causing Izuku to blush slightly. He doesn't really know why Denki thinks he's so cool, but it's nice to hear. Thanks. I appreciate you not going to the cops about me, but if someone asks you about me, absolutely tell them the truth. You might be able to get away with not going to them, but you'll ruin your shot at being a hero if you lie to them. Especially as Detective Tsukachi is the one to go to you. Don't even try to lie to him. His quirk is lie detector. Izuku says. I hear you. Denki says in a way that makes Izuku think he won't take Izuku's advice. I'm serious. Izuku tries. I know. Denki pats Izuku's shoulder. Come on. Izuku practically whines. What kind of hero would I be if I betrayed my friend? Denki tsks. It's not betraying if I'm telling you to do it. Izuku says quickly. Anyway, why'd you pick your vigilante name? I mean, it's pretty cool, but why? Denki changes the subject. Oh yeah, you said I'm called the magician. I didn't pick it. Actually, I didn't pick any name. I guess they just came up with it. Izuku shrugs. I guess it makes sense if they don't have any idea what your quirk could be. Denki nods. They'll probably kick themselves if they ever find out. It's pretty obvious if you think about it. It's just people underestimate the power of things they can't see. Izuku says. That's true. I definitely wouldn't have ever thought about it. Denki nods. Anyway, you've stalled long enough. Denki freezes. Get back to training. And work even harder for the time you've wasted. September hits before they know it. Denki and Izuku are at a coffee shop, just hanging out like always when Denki notices Izuku's eyes continuously flicking to the TV. Denki doesn't typically pay attention to whatever background noises these places have on. Neither does Izuku, usually, but this time it looks like he's actually bothered by it. Denki diverts his attention to the TV, wondering what his friend is so upset about. It's just another All Might interview. He knows Izuku isn't a fan of the man, always actively ignoring the hero, but Denki never found out why. His best guess is that it's because Izuku is a vigilante, so All Might will probably try to catch Izuku. Denki can understand that, but it doesn't seem right. It seems like there's something else. Something Denki just hasn't figured out yet. So, All Might, there's been a constant question burning in everyone's minds. When will you settle down and have children? You haven't shared the slightest bit about who you are when you're not All Might, but you have shared that you have yet to settle down. We've all wondered if that's changed lately. Perhaps you have a special someone out there you're keeping a secret. Denki has wondered that before, but it's still a weird question to ask. I'm afraid not. It's always been my hope to, but I've enjoyed being a hero too much to actually settle down. Although I hope to one day have children one day. All Might gives his usual booming laugh. He's liked the laugh before, but he likes it even more now that it reminds him of Izuku. Izuku abruptly stands up looking devastated. He dashes away, tears in his eyes. What kind of reaction is that? Denki freezes for a moment, baffled by Izuku's action. He snaps out of it and runs after Izuku. Despite how fast his friend flees, even using his quirk to get to the nearest roof, Denki can tell he doesn't entirely want to be left alone. If he didn't want Denki to find him, he would have made an effort to ditch him. Denki has no way of getting to the roof fast like Izuku, so he's forced to enter the building. The elevator is down, meaning he has to take the stairs. Unfortunately, Izuku is worth all 42 flights. Thankfully, the door to the roof is unlocked. He may be sweaty and gross, but he does make it to Izuku. He finds his friend on the edge of the building. His legs dangling off the side with his right hand gripping his hair and his left grabbing the crook of his elbow, his knuckles white from it. He's hunched over, sniffling and trying to muffle his cries. Denki's heart breaks for him. Why on earth would Izuku react this way? Denki sits down beside him, not sure what to say. How does he ask his friend what happened? Thankfully, Izuku talks without Denki having to prompt him. I don't know why it hurts so much. I know he doesn't care about me. I know he doesn't love me. No one who loves their kid abandons them when they're 6 then tells everyone they're dead. Still, hearing him completely ignore my existence, like I was never even there, it hurts. I wish it didn't. I wish I was smart enough not to care about what he says, but it hurts so much, Denki. I don't understand what I did wrong. What's so wrong with me that not even the #1 hero can love me? Izuku's voice quivers. Denki freezes at the admission. Izuku has to be joking, right? There's no way the #1 hero abandoned and abused his child. That's what he wants to believe, anyway, but he knows Izuku is telling the truth. They may not look a thing alike, but All Might, the symbol of peace, is Izuku's shitty father. Denki is silent for longer than he wants to be. He doesn't know what to say. How does he respond to this news? Eventually he takes a deep breath and speaks. Izuku, there's nothing wrong with you. You didn't do anything. What he did is wrong. He never should have treated you like that. It took me a long time to come to terms with it. I don't even always believe that I didn't deserve it. It's just hard to understand. There has to be something wrong with me. Ever since my quirk came in, he's hated me. He used to say that he should have known I could never be a hero since my first breath in the world killed my own mother. He's right. How can someone like me ever resemble a hero? I've stolen from innocent people. I got into fights all the time. Heck, I even enjoy fist fights. Izuku squeezes his eyes closed. You didn't kill your mom. Complications happen and there's nothing anyone can do about it sometimes. And I'm sure she loved you. I believe she would do it all over again in order to bring you into the world. The world is better off with you in it. I know I am. Denki doesn't know if his words bring any comfort to Izuku, but he does tell the truth. Izuku leans against Denki's shoulder, and Denki leans his head on Izuku's, giving his friend a side hug. Izuku doesn't stop crying for a while, coming clean about everything. Even about his quirk, how it works and his super evil uncle that he thinks is dead. Denki doesn't know how to process it all, but he just wants to be there for Izuku. Do you want to stay the night with me? Denki offers. He doesn't think Izuku should be alone right now. After a moment Izuku nods. They stay where they are till it's dark. Denki leading Izuku to his home. Izuku's eyes are red and puffy from crying. When they get home Denki's mom shoots them a concerned look, but decides not to ask until Izuku is fast asleep. Denki doesn't give her all the details, not wanting to betray Izuku's trust, but he does explain that they had a long talk about Izuku's past, about his father. His mom knows Izuku had a rough childhood, so she understands the mental toll the talk had to have had on Izuku. Denki didn't have a lot of All Might stuff, but he takes it all down while Izuku sleeps. Maybe tomorrow Izuku will want to burn it with him. Surely that'll be pretty therapeutic. Mei had figured out that Izuku was the magician a while ago. She had demanded to see his costume, then proceeded to make fun of him. She called it a disgrace to all clothing. She forced him to hand it all over to her, where she did improve all the fabric, making it lighter and more breathable. She also changed the color design. She left most of his clothes alone, but painted his goggles black and his mask dark green. Then she mocked him even more. He will never admit it to her, but he does like it better. Anyway, now he's on the roof of a building in his vigilante gear watching a particular someone. He swears it's not that creepy. Ever since realizing just how much he has missed the Bakugos, Izuku follows them around occasionally. Most of the time being Kaken, like today. I never took you as the stalker type. Where on earth did Eraser come from? Also, how did he not notice the man? It startles Izuku so much that falls forward and off the building, barely able to catch himself with an air platform. I'm turning evil. Izuku deadpants. Anyway, what are you doing here? This UR city. Not typically, but I'm tracking a villain that just so happened to wind up here. I didn't expect to find you here. Eraser raises a brow. Yeah, Izuku's not explaining himself. Want any help? Izuku perks up. Sure, kid. Eraser agrees. So, what kind of villain is it? Izuku asks. He has been attacking women for a month now by releasing a paralyzing gas. Eraser gives him a brief rundown. It does take a while, but they find the villain. He goes down easily, but they barely made it in time. There was a woman he was stalking, making Izuku shudder at the thought of what could have happened. Becoming a vigilante hadn't been decided with much thought. It was a whim, deciding to become a vigilante. He has never thought about what he's doing. The actual impact he's having. He just saw criminals doing bad things and had fun stopping them, and it always felt nice healing people. Fighting is probably the only thing he misses about living on the streets. Thinking about the good he does, he starts thinking he actually might be able to be a hero. One of Denki's favorite things to do is watch the sunset then look stargaze. To be fair, he has only ever done it with Izuku. Izuku will create his air platforms so they can have the best view up high and away from all the light pollution. Sometimes they talk, sometimes they just watch in comfortable silence. Once the sun is fully set and the stars have come out, they lay down and Izuku will occasionally give interesting facts about the constellations. Denki still can't tell the difference between any constellation, but he enjoys listening anyway. His favorite is when the moon is full. He often catches himself looking more at Izuku than the stars. It's all Izuku's fault, of course. For looking so beautiful, almost ethereal, in the moonlight. He doesn't typically dissect his feelings, but he knows he doesn't feel the same about Shinso. Maybe it's because Izuku is his best friend? That doesn't. Oh. Denki has a crush on Izuku. He's not surprised. He's fairly certain everyone, within the proper age range, has had a crush on Izuku at some point. It's not hard to see why. Denki certainly knows the cause of it for himself. Izuku is crazy smart, beyond kind, and extremely strong. Anytime Denki mentions something about being dumb, Izuku scolds Denki and tells him otherwise. How fast Denki picks things up. How skilled Denki is. Anytime Denki mentions schools or grades, Izuku groans. He goes off about how he may not remember a lot about school, but he does know it's not made with neurodivergent people in mind. The idea of most neurodivergent, especially ADHD, being dumb is ridiculous. Of course, students aren't going to do well in school when it's not made for them to learn. They have different learning styles that schools refuse to offer. It always makes Denki actually feel as smart as Izuku makes him seem. Denki doesn't know how he didn't see it earlier. He feels so strongly about Izuku that it's almost overwhelming. He doesn't know what to do with all his emotions, but he does know that he can't mention it to Izuku. Maybe one day, but definitely not anytime soon. He doubts Izuku feels the same and he doesn't want to be rejected yet. Izuku is confused. He knows he has never felt the type of feeling he has for Denki before. He thought it was just friendship, but he definitely didn't feel like this towards Kaken or Tuya. Then again, he was 6 and doesn't trust his memories of how he felt back then. That doesn't explain why he now feels completely different from how he feels about Shinso. Denki introduced them a while ago. Turns out Shinso is friends with Mei, so they hang out together pretty often. Thankfully, she has kept his identity a secret as well as his quirk. Izuku decided to hide all of his quirk abilities except for the healing part. Right now his quirk is just healing. Is this too many words to put in parentheses? It's way too confusing. Maybe Eraser will know. He should ask him next time they see each other. I think I have a crush on Izuku. Denki admits to Hitoshi during their lunch PRD when they're sitting down and eating. Hitoshi just gives him a look that calls Denki an idiot. Duh. You only talk about him all the time. I swear, anytime I bring up a subject you always manage to include Shimura every time. He's a likable guy. You were right about us having the same type of humor, but I could never talk about him like you do. Oh. That's embarrassing. He's just the coolest person I know. Denki pouts. I know. You've said it a million times. You're lucky he feels the same way. Shinso points his chopsticks at Denki. You think so? Denki asks excitedly. I know so. It's sickening being around you too. That being said, he's so emotionally stunted I don't think he realizes what he feels, so give him some time. Yeah, that tracks. The past few nights Izuku and Eraser's patrols haven't synced up. Izuku doesn't mind, he's more than capable of handling things on his own, but he still needs to ask Eraser his question. It feels like forever, but really it was only 4 days. Eraser. It's been forever. Izuku complains, greeting the man. It's been 4 days. Eraser corrects, rolling his eyes fondly. Forever. Izuku nods. Anyway, I have a question I wanted to ask you. Go for it. Eraser says. Alright, so if I've got some friends, but I feel different about one of them, what does that mean? Izuku asks innocently, but Eraser chokes on air. In what way? Eraser clears his throat. Well, I've got a friend that I really like. He's great, but I like my other friend better. It feels different, but I know it's not negative. I just feel happier in his company. He just makes me happy. Izuku explains. Kid, I'm not sure I'm the one to explain this to you. Eraser hesitates. But you know the answer. I can tell. Izuku blinks. Yeah, I think I do. I may not be great with dealing with emotions, but I can tell what you're going through. Eraser sighs, scratching the back of his neck. And? Izuku prompts. Well, it sounds like you've got a crush on him. Eraser finally says. Izuku blinks. He didn't expect that. He definitely hasn't experienced it before, nor has he seen it on someone else. He doesn't know if that's right or not. How can you tell? Like, isn't it something to do with kissing and holding hands? We haven't done that. Izuku taps his chin. Not if you are just figuring out how you feel. I guess it's more so if you want to with him. Even then some people may have a crush but not want to. Eraser says, looking mildly uncomfortable. Doing that stuff never actually crossed his mind. Although there has been a few times where Denki's hand looked rather holdable. Now that he considers it, he sees the appeal. He actually kinda wants to. I think these are too many emotions for me. Izuku admits sheepishly. Me too, kid, me too. Eraser sighs. He doesn't know what to do with this information, but he also knows that rejection is possible and even likely. He doesn't think he can handle all this right now. Emotions are terrible. Patrolling is typically fun. While he doesn't wish this sort of trauma on anyone, he does enjoy stopping villains and healing victims. That being said, he hasn't come across anyone too injured. He's always appeared at the beginning of a crime. This time? This time is possibly the worst scenario for him. A fire. An entire apartment complex has gone up in flames. A good portion of people have managed to evacuate, but he knows more are trapped in there. He doesn't know where, so he has to scan the building with his quirk, find the makeup of humans. 2 on the 2nd floor, 1 in the 4th floor and 2, 3? In the 5th. Something feels off about the last one. He goes to the 2nd floor first. The people are trapped between 2 giant flames with no path out. Izuku can't put the entire building out, that'll take too much effort, but he can smother the flames by forcing the oxygen away from the flames until there is a clear path out. He leads them to the window and creates a slide for them out of the air. Then he moves to the 4th floor where he does the same thing. When he reaches the people on the 5th floor, it's different. There's a child on fire, but he's not dying. It's his quirk. There is no villain. It's just a child who just found out what his quirk is. The father is fireproof. That's evident by how he can freely hold his child while the flames don't hurt him. The other parent isn't. Izuku can tell why he couldn't figure out how many people there were. It's because the person is almost dead. She's wheezing and looking towards her family with dull eyes. He doesn't know how, but maybe he can save her. Izuku has seen Eraser inhibit quirk factors many times. Izuku has never tested it out himself, but he's certain that he can mimic what Eraser does. It's his best chance at stopping the fire in this room at least. And it works. Somehow, Izuku manages it. He snuffs out the fire next and orders the father to take his son and go down the ramp Izuku made. He assures the man that Izuku will take care of his wife. There's actually not a lot of carbon monoxide in her system, thank God, but he has to clear out the smoke otherwise she'll just keep intaking it. He wants to move her, but that will only make it worse. He doesn't think she would survive even a short distance, but he also doesn't like the way the building is creaking. He doesn't know how long he has until it all collapses. The best he can do is move the air so that the smoke leaves their area. Science portion again. Carbon monoxide is extremely toxic. Upon entering the bloodstream, it binds to hemoglobins much stronger than oxygen does. This prevents the hemoglobins from being able to carry oxygen throughout the body, thus depriving cells from much-needed oxygen. CO is bonded through a covalent bond. It takes more focus, but Izuku can control electrons. It's painful and annoying, but he can do it. That is why he forces the electrons to stop sharing, to go back to individual elements. He lets the oxygen bond to the hemoglobins and the carbon he uses to help along with building up the burnt muscles and tissue. There is a lot of severely burned parts of her body. It's too much. She won't have enough energy to heal a lot of it. She's definitely dehydrated and probably suffering from blood loss, not to mention all the germs entering her body. Surely he can do something. It'll be okay, ma'am. You'll be okay. Izuku doesn't know if he's telling the truth. First things first is bringing back the skin. He has to trigger the platelets to come along and help where it can, along with triggering mitosis in the surrounding healthy skin cells. She definitely isn't lacking in the heat department, meaning he can focus solely on not wasting ATP production on heat. He has to utilize every possible resource before she runs out. If he makes a mistake, she will die. He has to be perfect. Science portion over. There's so much damage. She doesn't have enough energy even with Izuku's help. She's beyond dehydrated. She's running low on blood. Not to mention the infection she's surely going to get. How can he help all the people out there if he can't even save this one person? That's when he hears the wonderful sound of an ambulance. They have fluids. They have blood. They can give her energy. He has helped her enough to move her. Izuku gently picks the woman up, trying to ignore the way the building is creaking. The window is in the next room. He just has to get there. The building won't stop creaking. It's about to give out, but he can't risk moving too fast with her. If he uses his quirk to keep it all up, he will run out of energy too fast and won't be able to help her. Even with the ambulance out there, she won't make it unless Izuku himself works on her. If he uses his quirk too much, he can't help her. He is almost there when a loud noise fills his ears as parts of the ceiling crumbles. One particular piece he mostly dodges. By mostly, I mean his left foot is crushed underneath a fiery beam. He somehow manages to not drop the woman too hard, but he does fall to the ground, probably screaming. He isn't fully aware. He quickly uses his quirk to smother the flames and lifts it up barely enough to get his foot free. The pain in his foot is unbearable, but he knows it's nothing compared to the woman's pain. He tries to get up, but his foot fails him. He grits his teeth and turns off his nociceptors. It doesn't matter if he makes his ankle worse. He has to get her out of here before it all collapses. He picks up the woman and finally escapes the building. He finds her husband and son and gently puts her down. You healed her. The man looks at Izuku with such gratitude. Izuku doesn't deserve it. I'll be right back. Izuku assures before running off to the ambulance. The paramedics are busy tending to other victims. Even if Izuku did manage to tell them about the woman, they wouldn't help her. They would deem her a lost cause and move on to the people they could actually save. He contemplates his options before heading to the most recently arrived ambulance. The paramedics leave to find the next victim in need. Most of them don't need much and definitely aren't in danger of dying. Izuku knows they will have Ringer's lactate, RL, in it and total parental nutrition, TPN, which is what he needs along with the thing that will give her more blood. I cannot, for the life of me, figure out what that thing is called. He finds the RL pretty quickly as well as the machine, but not any blood they should have on hand. Oh well, he doesn't have time for this. Izuku rushes back, kneels down to the woman. He plugs the woman up to the IV drip using the RL first, using his quirk to utilize it the best he can and speed up the process. Once he calls it good enough, he switches it out with the TPN where he does the same thing. As he gets more nutrients in her bloodstream, he goes back to creating more energy that he immediately uses to help the healing process along. Once he is sure the burns won't kill her nor will she get an infection, he begins the blood transfusion. He doesn't waste time figuring out her blood type since he is O negative. He does have to do what he did for her earlier, unbinding the CO in his blood, since he doesn't want to give red blood cells bonded to CO to her. He can't give her too much of his blood, otherwise he won't be able to help her anymore. He is able to give her enough blood to make sure she won't die from it. Then he goes back to healing her as much as possible. He won't leave until she is well past merely surviving. Son, you're bleeding. A voice snaps Izuku out of his concentration. The woman's husband places a hand on Izuku's shoulder. Yeah, he's sure that his ankle is bleeding from being crushed. Only, that's not what the man is talking about. It's his nose that's bleeding. Izuku has pushed past his limits. He hasn't done that in a while. You saved my wife, thank you. I thought she was going to die, but thanks to you she's alive. I can't thank you enough. If Izuku could think some more, he's sure that he would have some sort of thoughts on the matter. As it stands, he definitely does not. He can barely think. Take a break, kid. Let me get you a paramedic. A paramedic? The ambulance, then hospital, then. They could find out about Izuku. The moment the man turns his back, Izuku runs off. He doesn't make it far before his exhaustion takes over and he collapses in the middle of nowhere. Denki was raiding the kitchen for a 2 a.m. snack when he gets a notification on his phone. He's subscribed to the magician website dedicated to any and all information regarding Izuku, or rather the magician. It mostly consists of stories about who Izuku saved, guesses on for his quirk, or sightings in general. It doesn't have a whole lot of people, but every now and then someone will post new information. Right now, he's getting a video of what looks like a fire. There hasn't been a video yet, but apparently someone managed to get a video. Yeah, he needs chips for watching Izuku save some people. He walks back to his room, munching on his chips as he plays the video. He watches Izuku walk on air like he has seen him do a million times. Then he watches as people exit, and Izuku carries on. Denki is concerned a little, but he has faith in his friend. Denki quietly opens his room and promptly drops the chips and his phone. Izuku is lying in his bed, a sticky note attached to his shirt with direct instructions not to take him to the hospital. It doesn't look like Izuku's handwriting. Did someone drop him off? Oh, it doesn't matter. Izuku is in some serious need of help. He doesn't look too burnt. More along the lines of a deeply unpleasant sunburn. Then Denki sees Izuku's ankle. It's a horrible color, and swollen and just not right. What even happened? He is so not equipped to deal with this. Actually, it looks like he does have the equipment. Whoever brought Izuku to him, brought some equipment too. Not that Denki has any idea what to do with them. His mom may be a doctor, but Denki never took any interest in it. He definitely wishes he had. Wait, his mom is a doctor. She can help. She may be a neurologist, but he's sure she would know what to do. Although he should probably get Izuku out of his outfit. He may not know what he's going to say, but he should at least be able to keep his identity a secret. Although when he does put Izuku in some of Denki's clothes, he realizes that Izuku is more burned than Denki realizes. He quickly runs to his parents' room. His dad is having his weekly guys' night, so it's just his mom in there. Mom! Wake up! I need your help. Denki pounds on his mom's door. Denki? What's wrong? She throws open her door wearing her nightgown and putting on her glasses. It's Izuku. Denki gulps. He doesn't know how to explain it, so he just leads her to his room. Just as he thought, she knows exactly what to do. Get me the first aid kit. His mom orders, placing 2 fingers on Izuku's pulse point. Denki obeys and searches for it quickly in the bathroom. When he comes back and she has already put the IV in Izuku. He hands the first aid kit and she starts wrapping Izuku's foot. I need ice. Put some in a Ziploc bag and give me some paper towels. Once again, Denki does as she says. Good, now hold it on his ankle. He's going to be okay, right? Denki looks at his mom with worry. In lieu of answering, she grabs a blood pressure cuff. What's his blood type? His mom asks. Oh, negative. Denki sputters out. He barely remembers Izuku mentioning it. Sheet. His mom curses. Mom, Izuku is going to be okay, right? Denki tries again, trying not to cry. He should pull through. She says after a moment. Now what is going on, Denki? He needs a hospital. I think his apartment building caught on fire. Denki says slowly. He's not sure where he's going with this. And why did he wind up here instead of the hospital? His mom sighs. Here's where he has to at least give her something. He can't go to the hospital. According to the law, he died a few years ago. Or so his father claimed. If Izuku goes to a hospital, they might find out the truth and be sent back to his father. And he was so horrible to Izuku. I can't risk him going back to his father. He always looks so scared when he gets mentioned. I can't do that to him. Denki tries not to go into too much detail. Denki, I'm happy that you have someone you care about so much, but we have protocols for that. Even if he's a minor, doctor-patient confidentiality still applies to him in some extent. We would treat him, but we would not go to anyone unless he is in danger. Is he? She places a hand on Denki's shoulder. No. Denki shakes his head. It's kind of a lie. Being a vigilante is definitely dangerous, but Izuku would hate to have that taken from him. Then nothing will happen if he goes to the hospital. I won't take him there since you told me it would go against his wishes, but I would feel better if he was checked over properly. I have no idea how you managed to get the equipment you did, but it saved him. I have no idea how badly his foot is damaged and I believe he needs a blood transfusion. Not to mention he will be in excruciating pain when he wakes up. His mother lists. You really think it'll be okay? Denki bites his lip. I know so. She cups his cheek and presses her lips against his forehead. I'll talk to him when he is better. Denki agrees. He knows Izuku doesn't like hospitals, but maybe this time will be different. Good, now go to sleep. You have school tomorrow. I'll call in at work tomorrow and watch over Shimura. She assures him. He watches as his mother retreats back to her room and Denki looks over at Izuku. He really hopes he will get better soon.
Okay, sadly the chapter is over. And if you enjoyed the video, just leave a like and subscribe with post notification, so when the next chapter is ready, you will be notified. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.